Are you a contact guy?
No, it's weird. I have like with glasses I can see far away but not too close, and then without glasses I can see to a certain distance. So glasses are really for far vision, but really
Sure.
close up I can't see anything at all. So
Do you
like
keep
if
yourself
it's this close, it's blurry. So I have
Mm.
about from here. It's weird.
right? No, I get it because I'm kind of the same way. I have cheaters that I'll wear on occasion for that reason, especially at night driving, hard to see.
Oh, that's the hardest. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
For me,
yeah,
that's
it's
the
weird that
hardest.
you mentioned that because I was watching the trailer of that movie you were in 2014, and I immediately noticed that like you had a good glasses on, glasses off change of face, like the
Oh, was this the Nothing Without You?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's he said, okay, when you're the prof, you put them on, and then when you're not, you take them off. So it's kind of like anything red, that means, you know, he if it turns red, that means he's not really there. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Spoiler alert.
How was that, by the way? Tell us a little about that if you don't mind.
That movie, it was really interesting. I don't even remember how I got cast. I think it went through an agent, and I got cast in the lead. I went, what? That's crazy. And then there was like the guy, the director, Zachary Irving with an X, if you're looking it up, was the director for the first 48, and they were doing a big series of it here in Louisville, Kentucky, and he was going to shoot a movie while he was here. There was something like in between shoot dates, he was going to shoot a movie, and I think he's from Minneapolis. He knew somebody in Minneapolis, and he flew her in, and there she is, Jennifer, so talented. Emily Fredenberg is her actual name, and so the shoot took a minute. It was my first lead in anything. It was really cool though.
Yeah. The trailer looks amazing. I haven't seen the full length yet, but it's on my agenda for this weekend. Kind of give us a synopsis of it if you don't mind.
So
interesting.
This woman, Jennifer, is a stalker, like a heavy duty stalker, like live in your house and watch you from the attic stalker. And she's going to go to jail, and her being released depends on me as her shrink, helping her figure out, hey, it's not really cool to stalk these guys. And she said, and there's a murder. And she says, well, I didn't do it. The guy gets killed. The guy she's stalking gets killed. She said, well, I didn't do it. I have to prove my innocence. So I'm like her second in command while we go amateur sleuthing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That sounds fun.
I dig it.
But there's a
Go ahead,
twist.
Yeah?
You have to have the twist.
Rosebud turns out to be a sled.
Yeah. And then it ruins all of
ruins everything.
It just ruins everything.
Norman Bates is his own mother. I'm just going to do all the spoilers of all the movies.
Exactly.
Nice.
Please do.
Is that something you've always wanted to do? Is that just something you kind of happen into as part?
Oh, acting. I've been acting since I was like 8 years old because I was the best reader in class. Literally, that's how they would cast school plays. Like, Keith can read. Let's make him the reader.
Right.
So I would read.
I completely relate to that.
These, I'd be like and then Josephine went into the house, and like the kids line would be like, "Oh no!" And then I would have to tell the entire story, and they would just act it out. But I loved it. I always wanted to be an actor. I was, when I was a kid, I was the only one in my house who cared anything about Broadway in any way whatsoever. And so we had this little black and white television back when you would only get 3 channels. And fortunately, we had this television, so I could like huddle down in the kitchen with this television with a broken antenna and watch the Tonys on a screen not as big as a laptop.
Nice.
But like every time, like, shh, it's the Tonys. What are you talking to me? They're about to do How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. What are you talking to me?
How did you learn about it? You know what I mean? Like, what was your earliest exposure to a Broadway
West
play?
Side Story, I think, was the
Oh,
first.
wow.
I
Yeah.
watched the movie of West Side Story, and I didn't watch the whole thing. I just, it was one of those Sunday afternoon at the movies or whatever, and I'm flipping through, and they're dancing and jumping on fences and singing at the top of their lungs, and
It's such a great score.
yeah, they're jets all the way, and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh my god, this is where I belong. This is where I live.
Nice.
So, I mean, I would watch it, and every time I'd watch it, and I go, okay, this Tony won't die in this time. It's like it's a movie. They don't change. It's not like
Right.
choose your own adventure. He dies every time.
Yeah. Choose your
Were
own
your
adventure.
parents-
That's a separate category. That's
It's a whole other thing. You can decide.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Were
can
your
go to the
parents super
antique book
encouraging?
store and buy those.
What's that?
Were your parents super encouraging of it?
No, my mom was a single mom, and she was just like, yeah, do that if you want to, but that's weird. Everybody thought that was weird. Everybody thought it was super, super weird.
Hmm.
If you don't grow up in a family of theater people and you're a theater people, everybody's like,
Yeah.
he's weird.
get it.
And I was gonna try to go to college for it. I said, oh, I can do this in college, and maybe they'll pay me. My mother's like, you have to be an engineer, because I was also good at math and science. She's like, you have to be an engineer. It's like, no, I want to be an engineer. I want to be in theater. She said, well, if you're in theater, I'm not going to help you pay for it. And I didn't know anything about anything. I was like 18. I had not lived at all.
Right.
And so I didn't know how
Right, yeah.
anything worked. Nobody told me, hey, here's some scholarships you can get. Nothing. So I was like, okay, I'll be an engineer. And then that sucked all the beans. And then it ended up that I went to the University of Tennessee,
Okay. Vol.
and eventually, because it was a partial scholarship, I said, I can't afford this. And my mother was like working 3 jobs. I'm like, and I found out because my sister told me, otherwise she wouldn't have told me. And I said, I'm coming home. And so I came home. And then when I came home, the credits didn't transfer. So I had to get some more humanities stuff before I spent the rest of my life in engineering school. And I took an intro to theater class. And then I took a theater for non-majors class. And then I said, okay, all right. And
Was
so
that U of L?
Yeah.
Okay.
the University
That's
of
my
Louisville.
alma
And so I
mater
was
as
like,
well. Yeah.
oh, really? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I just in the music school. I have a
Oh yeah, I knew
can't-
some of the fun people. I hung out with music school people eventually.
mhm.
But I took a class and I went, no, this is really what I want to do. And I quit engineering school. I was not good though. I was not a good engineer.
Mm.
One of the things I do in my act is like I was a C average engineer, and I was supposed to be a civil engineer. You can't be a C average bridge designer because nobody wants a bridge that works 70% of the time.
No.
Right. I feel that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your change of fields there.
There are
Yeah,
certain
no, what are you going to say? 10 of you are going across this bridge. 3 of you won't make it.
Right.
They won't.
there are
They
certain industries that require excellence.
Yeah, you have to be good at it all the time.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
was
look-
like, oh, every single time. Oh man, this is very
Pilots.
exact. Mm.
When did the transition to comedy occur?
Not for a long time. I was like 25, and I was always the class clown or the funny one, because it took people's minds off the fact that I was like Violet in the Willy Wonka movie. I was like round as a kid, and so I would just be like, "But I'm funny. Please don't bully me." So, and it endeared me to teachers because I was goofy, and I said, "Oh, this poor fat kid. At least he's funny." So I was always funny in groups. And then I thought, I wonder if you can do this all the time. And so I went to a comedy club just by myself and watched an open mic or watched a regular show. I can't remember which one it was first time. And I went, I can do that. These guys aren't so great. I can do that. And so I finally wrote a bunch of jokes, signed up for an open mic night. And it was when you had to, it was show up and go up. So if you didn't get there in time, you didn't get to go up.
Yeah.
And fortunately for me, it was a slower night and they didn't fill all the way up. So I got to get on stage. And what was really great about it was a contest. And I love contests. So like, yeah, I'm going to win this. And it was the funniest the one who got the most audience reaction got $50. I said, oh, well, hello, $50.
Right.
I didn't get the $50 because some guy brought like all the people he knew.
Yeah, the
I mean, it was like
Springer
so
crowds.
disproportionately in his favor. I went, okay.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Seen those. What club was it? Was your first
It
with
was the
them?
comedy. No, I take that back. It wasn't called the Comedy Caravan yet. It was called the Funny Farm.
Okay. Which is
And
now
was
is
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
Laughing Derby now, right?
well, it went from Funny Farm to the Comedy Caravan to the Laughing Derby for a brief moment, and then now it's just the Caravan.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But a month before this, a friend of mine and his then girlfriend, now wife, went to the same place, and it was a Noble Romans Pizza. It's exactly the same place. I went, wasn't this a pizza place like a month ago?
Oh shit.
It was weird.
Whoa.
Yeah. What's the strangest place you've performed?
Oh, dude, what? I'll just give I'll just give you a list of weird ass places.
What's yeah.
I was part of one of my first gigs was I was at a Chi-Chi's.
Mhm.
Nice.
And
Yep.
there were three of us, and the guy who had sent us, Tom Sobel, who owned the Caravan and had a bunch of shows, and I was very lucky to be doing comedy in this town because he was one of the people who had a lot of pull in the industry at the time. And he would send three guys, and you wanted to be that guy, to Chi-Chi's, and we would do a half-hour show, 10 minutes a person, and we had to be off by Monday Night Football because what they were trying to do is they were trying to get people to stay long enough to watch Monday Night Football, which meant, well, I'm watching the football game now. I'm not going to leave.
Yep. Suck around.
And so it's like, wait, before you go, come in here and see this free comedy show. So literally, if you heard the, you know, the da 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 da, you have to stop.
Right.
Right. And so it depends on who went up, and if they were a time hog, like you might not get any time. Like if you were last, you know, and they did 12 minutes apiece, you had 5 minutes.
Were these paying gigs? Or paying spots?
Like maybe $25 or something.
Yeah, some
But yeah.
chimichangas. I forget what was on the Chi-Chi's.
Exactly. I think you got a free soda and maybe a burrito or something.
Hell yeah.
I did a show at a disco before it opened. I did a show at a disco. And again, it was one of those early guy shows. And it was like you go at like 9 o'clock when no one is at the disco. But again, it was an idea of like, get people to come to the disco early and start drinking early and we'll make more money. And it did not work. It was one of those things where like you have to walk down to the dance floor. So it's like an actual story lower than the rest of the bar.
Which is terrible for early.
Right. And so we're down there and they didn't have real lights because it's a disco.
Yeah.
They had disco lights. They didn't move. In this place, I actually did a show where the lights kept flashing. But in this show, they were just, you would be in this horrible like aquamarine and amber and pink light trying to do comedy at 8 o'clock for 7 people who were 10 feet, 15 feet above you.
And standing.
And well, yes, leaning on the rail or sitting on the really tall stools or whatever.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I did, along with that, I did a show in a bar in, oh my God, what was it called? It was Michigan City, Indiana, because it was right on the border between Indiana and Michigan.
Big
and it
prison,
was
right? Big prison there, I believe.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get to meet those guys.
Wrong crowd. I hear
And they wouldn't turn off the hockey game because it was the Red Devils or the Blue Devils or whatever the hockey team is. And I had to do the show on the dance floor, and it was karaoke night the night before. And they had those flashing lights that with every syllable, the lights changed because they were changing with the beat of the music. So every time I talked, the lights would change. And I asked the guy, I said, can you turn these off and just put on, you know, make them be still or turn them off? He's like, I don't know how to do it. Like nobody knew how to do it because it wasn't their system. So I was just basically giving people like some kind of weird Technicolor epilepsy every time I spoke.
Yeah.
Those punchlines were extra.
Oh yeah,
rough.
people were like falling out of their chairs, and then they wouldn't get up, and I didn't understand.
I think I read somewhere you've done some cruise ships as well.
Yes, that I love. I love doing that.
That's surprising. I've heard the opposite. Like you hear most comedians talk about cruise ship shows, it's usually a horror story.
Here's the thing about cruise ships.
I hear a lot of musicians speak fondly of their tours on cruise ships.
Well, it used to
honestly.
be the cruise ship used to be you couldn't get a job anywhere else, so they put you on a cruise ship.
Hmm.
But now, because there's such multi-million, maybe even billion-dollar industries, they can't afford to have one complaint about you. So you have to be spectacular to work on a cruise ship. You have to be really good. And so I consider myself really fortunate to be able to get on a cruise ship because they vet you really hard. And I had a great time on cruise ships. I haven't been on one probably in about a year. I mean, maybe a couple of years, even before all of the COVID goings on. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. I've seen all the places cruise ships go. I'm good.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like the first few times you go, man, we're going to Cancun, we're going to the Bahamas, we're going to Jamaica, we're going to Alaska. And then it's like, we're going to Alaska again. Are we going back to the Honduras? Great. And then you feel like the biggest
because
jerk.
I guess they all become the same in your head in some
Well,
way.
ultimately, you get up. I always get off the boat because you're on the boat for so long, you get bored being on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you've seen everything and you know all the games, you know the activities, you know everything. You've seen it all. So I at least get off the boat and like, okay, here I am on land. I'm here, and then I'll get off for about half an hour. But what's for me is also really cool, not only when there's a bunch of people because I love all that energy, but I love it when there's nobody on there because there's a bunch of people. Everything you do, everywhere you go, there's always thousands of people there. At the swimming pool, in the cafeteria, at the shows, there are thousands of people.
And they never leave. They
don't. They just go down the hall. They don't.
They just go down the hall.
It's like, yeah, are you still here? Oh, you can't get off, I guess. Okay.
There's fucking Margaret again.
Hi, cabin 723.
Right. There's you hear a lot of retirement, instead of retiring to Florida condo, they just live like the cruise life.
I met several people, who just cruise. Like I met these people, they cruise so much, they get all their stuff free. It's like if you're a frequent gambler, they give you all of those perks. Mm-hmm. And they would get all these perks. They'd like, the fancy restaurant, they could eat in for free. They get free chips to play in the casino.
As much crab as you want.
Treatment. They go like 8-10 cruises a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow,
and it was funny because they would cheat at all the trivia games because it's the same trivia every time. Like nobody's working that hard to come up with new trivia.
Right.
It's like, okay, corporate sends you this sheet of paper, you just read the things off and give prizes. And so this woman, because I was on an Alaska cruise for 3 weeks in a row. So we go from Seattle to Alaska to Seattle to Alaska, And so I knew all the people on the ship by that third week because there's nobody else. Like, it's like, I'm just going to hang out with the people who, the piano person in the lounge, and I'm going to hang out with the cruise, cruise director or the whatever bartenders. Yeah. And I was in the room, the lounge with the trivia people, these people who had come in, and I was just hanging by myself, and I was sitting kind of close, or whatever, because it was a comfy chair. And they said, why don't you hang with us? I'm like, you're right. Yeah, let's hang out. And the woman went, oh, you guys are back. Okay, I changed some of the questions. I was like, that's hilarious. Because they would win all the contests. Like we would just hang out. After a while, they were just a fun bunch of people. So we just hung out and they would just win everything. And I'm like, you guys are millionaires.
Yeah.
Why do you need more highlighters and ink pens? Because that's what the prizes were. Like highlighter, an ink pen, a keychain.
Yeah. That was the highlight of their week.
Yeah, we got 7 keychains.
Yeah. See, the cruise wasn't that special to them. The highlight is being able to jip that trivia contest.
Being able to highlight, I guess. The highlight is highlighting. That's
right.
Like, look at this. I know. Look at that. My eye goes right to that.
So impressive. That's awesome. How did that transition start? Like going from unpaid to paid? I assume it was just starting those early gigs, and it just
it was. So the thing was,
Yeah.
Open mic, 3 minutes for a long time.
Mhm.
Open mic, 4 minutes. Open mic, 5 minutes. Open mic, 7 minutes. Open mic, 10 minutes. Host the open mic regularly. Guest set on a regular show. More guest sets on the regular show. Host a regular week. Host several weeks. Travel, because at the time, the Caravan was literally that. Like the Louisville Club was the anchor club, but you'd go to all of these one-nighters for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Like
So
Cincinnati and other
Yeah,
Lexington.
yeah. Henderson, Kentucky. Try not to be jealous, guys. Better hold it down.
I love Kentucky. I grew up.
Oh, it's
But
actually, it was
Henderson-
really, when you're starting out in comedy and you get to go stay in a hotel on somebody else's dime and they pay you and the club feeds you and you get to do comedy. What?
Mhm.
Rough.
Crazy time.
I'm with you there. That's amazing.
And so you get to do that. And then eventually the hardest leap is from MC to feature, because especially if you're a good MC, and I was a good MC, I would get the crowd started. I was likable. I do all of the litany of announcements and do my, the 2.5 minutes I had left to do comedy. And after I told them whose birthday is it, my drink special is this. Who's married? We want to say hi to Don and Susan on their 70th anniversary, and then by the time it's like, hey, good night,
Yeah.
But I was really good at it, and I was clean, and I would keep the show going, and I did all the stuff they said, and so I was MC for a long time. And I kept saying, I would like to feature, and so I did 20 minutes at one of these bars I'd never been to. It's just one of those bars where it's like, okay, we're gonna send you to this place, and we're gonna see how you do. And Tom was there. Tom Sobel was there, and I was like super nervous, and I did okay, but I mean, 20 minutes at that time was like, so what's your name? Okay. Where do you work? Okay. And are you a worker too?
Okay.
How is your working? You work as a lot or just some? Good night. So, and then I went, okay, featuring is hard. And then you get really good at featuring because you figure out how to do that. You just have to write more and put it together and learn how to do crowd work. And then headlining is even harder because it's like your name is on the show and you're the one they're coming to see.
Well,
So,
you do it well. And the past day, I've been watching some of your stuff on YouTube. Subscribe to your channel. It's
I
really
saw,
good.
man, it was so
really
cool.
well put together.
Thank you.
And even my daughter saw it, and she wants to say hi at some point. But
Oh, okay, she can run in and say hello. That's
there
another
is-
thing I do. I teach drama to young people.
That's awesome.
I read that. We both have
In
kids.
like the
I actually have-
the public school system. Or
I am like a independent contractor, so I might teach for a theater, like as outreach.
yeah.
So I'll teach for Stage One Family Theater or Actors Theater of Louisville or Commonwealth Theater, which is like a conservatory.
Yeah.
So, now just say, all right, you need to go and teach these classes. I'll be like, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Go and teach kids Shakespeare or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to teach for Kentucky Opera back in the day.
Oh my God. I
For
was
a couple
driving
years
down.
as part of their outreach program to middle schools, actually.
So what did you teach opera kids?
The whole thing was they rented a theater in downtown Louisville. I think it was the Birmingham Theater, actually. I'll recall the name later. At any rate, you just had to put on like a 45-minute show, and I helped compile that show for them. And a lot of them were creative enough that they wanted to actually write the music for the show.
Cool.
And so it got pretty cool,
I actually worked for the Kentucky Opera for about 4 hours as a ticket salesman.
Mhm.
It was one of my first gigs. It was completely commissioned, which I should already have known. And what you would do is you got this list. I mean, it was so old timey. You got this list and you would just call people. You say, hi, I'm Keith with the Kentucky Opera, and I noticed that you have been a subscriber before, and we'd like to invite you back to the Kentucky Opera. This year we're doing Turandot, The Turn of the Screw, and I don't know, it would be some horrible opera I'd never heard, La Boheme. So would you like to subscribe to all of these?
Nope.
But let me tell you more. You can describe it's tiered. So if you're part A, you can get this many tickets. This is your part B. This is part C.
Yeah.
You can sit here. And I think I sold one.
That's rough.
I sold one medium package. I mean, it would be funny because you'd have them on the phone, and it's just really horrible. And it's like, I don't know. Let me go and talk. Hey, we can wrap this up right now. Just give me a little bit of information, and we'll And I sold one, and I said, I cannot come back here.
Man.
Yeah, cold calling is the worst.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But it's good skill wise. You know what I mean? It teaches them skill to keep some people talking and, keep their attention for a minute.
That's
You
exactly
gotta
it.
get kind of creative sometimes when they want to hang up the phone, especially if you're super trying hard to make a sale, or like you just want to get one that day or something. You know what I mean? You're determined.
And I would call, and because these are old people mostly who are doing opera subscriptions, I would call, and sometimes the people would be dead. What do you do with that? Like, hi, can I speak to Margaret Wilson, please? Oh, that was my mother.
Sorry, my
passed a couple
bad.
months ago. Oh, well, do you like opera? Hello? Hello?
You just tell them it's a bill that they need to pay.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the best. Like, oh, well, Margaret owes us $156, but we can make a deal.
You buy tickets for the next 3
If
seasons.
you buy these tickets to La Boheme, we'll call Margaret's debt even.
You have to
That's right.
sit there for 3.5 hours.
I saw some of the outreach was behind bars outreach. Like,
Yeah,
was it?
Shakespeare Behind Bars.
Yeah, tell me about that.
This is the coolest program I think I've ever been associated with. It started about 26 years ago. I started maybe 7, 8 years ago. There's a guy, Matt Wallace, who's in charge of it now. He's also in charge of Kentucky Shakespeare. They used to be all together, and then the guy who started it left. So he broke them up first, and then he left, and he does it in Michigan, and Matt does it in Louisville. And basically, there's a troupe that's been going for 26 years that does
Is this right?
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Period. We get them together and pick a play, and they have a year to rehearse it on their own. We come in and rehearse it, and so it's not like get these lines. It's like it's a year, and we spend a year exploring it and taking it apart and putting it together. And
So these guys got some time to practice, you're saying?
Oh, yeah. And they practice with each other. What's great about it, these guys, they do. Actually, there are a couple of guys who have been with the program since it started, and that's 26 years.
Wow.
So they were in there for the whole time. And
exciting for them, though, for real. That's
oh, yeah, no, it's a great, and they sort of became de facto leaders of it. But in that same token, it's supposed to be like everybody's equal and everybody has a say in everything and everybody's voice counts. But you still get a little bit of a hierarchy where guys go, I've been doing this for so-and-so, and this is what I think. It's like, okay. But yours is not the only opinion. We still got 20 other guys whose opinion matters.
Exactly.
You know? And when Matt and I go in, we don't go in like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going like, what do you guys feel like you want to do? What are you trying to say with this? Well, let's work with that. And so we'll just work with it until about a month out. And then we have to really kind of dig deep, dig down and get it together.
That sort of leads me to another project that, let me share my screen. I'm excited to hear about.
Yeah, Nation in Crisis. That I do with Commonwealth Theater Center.
It just finished up. I missed it.
Yeah, it's it started out. We did public performances this year because we just sort of needed to have more performances. Like this was our first public performance since COVID because we couldn't do really public performances, and it wasn't public like everybody come. It was public like buy a ticket and watch it in your living room on your laptop.
Yeah.
But this started, Nation in Crisis is this story about civil rights history started as just one piece that had been written by the original founder of what was Walden Theater before it merged with Blue Apple Players to become Commonwealth Theater Center. Nancy Niles Sexton wrote this piece about the Tuskegee Airmen, and I would go in and I would dress up in like a flight uniform and the kids would sit in the audience and I'm having a press conference. And so I'm going to tell you all about the Tuskegee Airmen, and the kids are like, kill me. And I'm like, yeah, kill me too. Why are we here? Why are any of us here? And so finally one day I said, hey, this isn't working for either of us. Let's flip the script. What do you guys know about civil rights theater? And then they would say, we know about Rosa Parks, and we know about, the Greensboro sit-ins. We know about Malcolm X. I'm like, well, let's talk about those guys for a minute. Now, before all those guys did anything and those women did anything they were going to do, these guys flew planes. Like, well, really? And so I had some context, and then I thought, well, why don't I just write that? So then I ended up writing a one-person show. Really, like 8 or so characters would show up and talk about various points in civil rights history. And then it just became, what's great about it is that it's pretty inexpensive to produce because we don't really have any props at all. We don't really have any costumes. I just switch hats. And we can go into an auditorium and it's one person and they do this for an hour and then they leave. And so it's like, it's a really cool thing. But then I did it for 15 years. I just realized the other day, I was like, I can't do this anymore. So now a woman does it, which is really cool because now she can do female characters because I wasn't going to try to do that. And she sings, which is really cool. She's put songs in it. And now what's great about it is because we're able to do it virtually instead of doing like 20 shows. This year we've done 120 shows.
And probably it reached a wider audience too.
Yeah, we reach a wider, we've reached like nationally, people can see the show. Like people's families who live in different states can see them perform because it's virtual. So Jackie Blue is her name. Her family was able to see her perform. They haven't been able to see her perform in years because they live in Michigan. She lives in Kentucky. So she said, you have to watch this. So that was very cool. We're getting, we're working with schools all over the country. We're working with schools that it would have been like, okay, we can't drive to Bullitt County and stay all day because that's impossible. But you can tune in and we can do the show for you if you just tune in and you can pick a day and we'll do it. We'll tune in. So yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of that. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there a project you got going currently that you're super excited about?
Yeah, right now I'm working with a group in Appalachia called Higher Ground. And for this will be their 9th year. They have been writing plays based on transcripts and based on stories that they know. And they come up with a play. They're a bunch of musicians. They're a bunch of really good actors. There are several directors, there's a choreographer, and they put together a show from scratch. They're associated with the college. It's in Harlan, Kentucky. They're associated with the college that's closest to Harlan. I think it might even be in Cumberland. It's very close. And and this is funny. We were talking about Shakespeare Behind Bars. There was a woman who interviewed me. Her name is Kate Hanslick. And she interviewed me for her, I think it was her master's degree with Shakespeare Behind Bars. And she was just like, wow, this is great. And she saw the show we directed and everything. And it was really cool. And then years later, she's like, hey, remember we did this? And I said, yeah, I remember that. She said, do you want to direct this show? I'm like, sure. And she's like, it's in Harlan. I'm like, okay. And so I figured I'd like go down and stay, whatever. And then COVID hit. And so I couldn't go down and stay for a month and put the whole darn thing together. So now what it's going to be is me commuting maybe once a week or for a whole week once we get to Tech Week, I guess. And most of it's Zoom rehearsals. And so I'm like, I've met maybe about 10 of the people in person because I was down there a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't met most of the cast in person, and half of the cast is going to be recorded. So we're going to maneuver that and project it. We're going to like pre-record it and then project them into the show. So they'll be interacting with live actors, and the music's going to be some of it recorded and some of it live. And we're going to have aerialists because they got a grant to work with Higher Ground. So they're going to be atmospheric and sort of illustrating points in the story. And it's going to be amazing. And I've been talking with these people, and I went in, and I'll admit it, I was like, okay, this is what I think Appalachia is. Appalachia is the people in Ozark. Thank you for coming. And it turns out it's just so much more complicated than that. I mean, there are people down there who go, yeah, it's kind of messed up down here too. But this is my home and I have to try to fix it from within. I can't just leave. And then some people like, I cannot stay here another second. I have to leave. And then some people like, I left and it was horrible and I came back. And you know, and now with the world as it is, with COVID, with Black Lives Matter, with all the unrest, people are like looking at each other and go, I've known you literally for decades, but I did not know you at all.
Yeah.
And so then people are trying to figure out, how do we navigate these people on whom I depend for everything, you know, and then not be like, I can't believe you think that way. I don't know what to do with that. So
Right. It's
this
a very
piece is good.
interesting area of the country, really. I mean, the coal miner's daughter kind of
Yeah.
shitty end of the stick.
Well, and
for the
that's the
past few
thing too,
decades.
that one of the things people in Appalachia say is like, when people come down, they don't see all the really cool stuff we do. They don't see all the improvements we make. They go right to the
Right.
shacks.
They
Right
don't
to the
see how
coal
much
mine.
we care.
Yeah.
That's sad. And it's like a beautiful area too. Like
Oh my
Hazard,
God.
Kentucky is,
Gorgeous.
yeah. There's the true definition of a holler.
West
is what you
Virginia is a
experience there. It's
beautiful
amazing.
state.
It'll wear you out trying to like traverse it on foot, but it's a beautiful area for sure.
Okay, I
Those,
didn't know you're going to be using those big $10 words. Okay. We bring it down a little bit.
right. So is there when's the schedule upcoming
So
show?
it's the end of April 23rd and 24th, and then the 30th and May 1st.
Is it Higher Ground the band? To be clear,
Higher Ground is the
Uh,
group.
okay.
So I imagine if you go online and look for like Higher Ground in Appalachia, you'll probably be able to see snippets of several of the
I have
places.
the
I've done.
Facebook page up here, I think.
Yeah, so that's them. I'm just saying that. I don't even know. I can't even see what you said. Sure, I'm sure that's them.
Well,
I'm sure
we
that's
are
them,
all
right?
about to find out.
I didn't know they had t-shirts. I would have bought one already. That's not them. That's in Vermont. Now you're
Okay.
just making up stuff.
No, I'm just making up stuff now.
Yeah, this is in Harlan. If you Google Higher
Oh.
Ground Harlan, Kentucky, it'll probably pop up.
Cool. Harlan, Kentucky.
Well, while he's doing that, let me ask you about your album, because
Ooh, my album.
Me-
This is 1973. My album.
well, exactly. That's kind of part of the question, because that was one of my first loves, like when it comes to comedy. And as lame as it sounds, Adam Sandler's "They're All Gonna Laugh at You" was like on replay in my, Discman.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like nonstop.
Yeah.
What made you? And it was 2017. Was that when you
Yeah,
added?
I think it's just a few years ago.
What made
There
you
it is.
decide to do it?
I actually had done a couple before, and this one is sort of the conglomeration of those things. Like I took all the best stuff off of those two things, and then I
Okay.
wrote some more stuff.
I mean, it looks
And
like there's
then-
almost a solid hour there.
Yeah. I wanted honestly to have something to sell after shows, because I would
Yeah.
see all these
Yeah.
comedians who had were making extra money selling stuff. I'm like, that would be great, because I think I got $7 and a free soda. I would like to make extra money also. So I got an album, and it's just been great. It's like a lot of times it's like a business card. You
Right,
know,
right.
people were
Makes
like,
sense.
can I hear your stuff? Because I don't do DVD or whatever. I don't do video. I mean, I guess that's the next step, but I really haven't done. I mean, I have little videos that you can watch, but I'm not trying to sell them. But the CD is like, well, listen to this, and if you think I'm funny, great. Tell your friends. If you don't think I'm funny, that's cool. I'm also like, if somebody buys it, I'm like, I don't care if you let somebody else listen to it, because my feelings aren't hurt. I'm not gonna be like, no, only you listen to this.
They have to buy their own.
Yeah, and so I just thought, oh, I'd love to have that. And then just recently, maybe about a year and a half ago, I finally figured out something to put on a t-shirt, because that was the other thing. I would go to these shows, I'd be like, good night, everybody. And then I would watch the headliner just sell $500 worth of t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I got to get a t-shirt. And so my t-shirt is Professional Broke Person,
I like it.
because I have this whole bit about how to be a professional broke person. Because it's the things you do to shortcut. Even if you have enough money, you still shortcut. Like if you have ever taken a Ziploc bag to a wedding and then said something like, you know, they can't eat all that cake. You are a professional broke person. Right?
like
If you
the,
have ever put a
but-
bunch of little soaps together and squished them to try to make a great big soap, you are a professional broke person. You know, so those little money saving tips that people go, oh my God, I've done that.
Right.
Oh my
The
God, I'm on
glasses are a great
Amazon.
look, by the
That's
way.
great. I had no idea.
Yeah. So you have a full hour here.
Yeah.
Why why not do the like a video special to try to as your business card? You know what I mean?
I'm cheap. I said it.
No,
You know
but-
what? I mean, here's the thing. Like a CD is so much easier to produce. Like you record all the shows you do that week, find the best one, and then cut and paste and put it back in.
Right.
With a video, it's so much more production. It's so much more work. I mean, I could probably
really
you know
is.
sell a few of them, but I'm just like, just listen to me.
Right.
And then if you actually want to see me tell this joke, go to YouTube. It's not YouTube.
Yeah.
You can see you just saw me tell
Yeah.
the joke. What do you
I think
think?
your comedy stands alone, audio only, though, pretty well.
Thanks,
Which
thanks.
is, you know, something that's you don't see very often. I'd be hard pressed to tell you what the last comedy album I actually listened to, other than listening to yours. For that reason, it just comedy to me is, I don't know what happened to like why there was a period of time where comedy albums were so huge to me and then it just like faded off the planet.
When I was a youth, that was the heyday of comedy albums. People would literally come over to your house and you would just play comedy albums. My mother used to do it all the time. It was Red Fox, Moms Mabley, Bill Cosby.
Wash Your Ass, it's fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I listened to Moms Mabley again, Richard Pryor, and I went. It wasn't just, oh my God, this is like when you're a kid, it's like, oh my God, this is dirty music. It's
Right.
so funny. And then you listen to it and you go, this is it's the best writing because it's such real comedy writing. He's just like, my life was shit. Let me write that down and make it funny and tell you about it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I went, oh my God, that's so true. Like Moms Mabley, same deal. She would be like, all right, here are these folk tales I've heard 100 million times. And that was the thing too. Like Red Fox told jokes. He told jokes he'd heard. Moms Mabley told old stories she'd heard. Bill Cosby told stuff based on his childhood. So they were just taking the Black heritage and putting it on vinyl and making it palatable, because that's what Black people had been doing for literally centuries. It's like, well, we got to make jokes out of it, or we got to make stories out of it, or we got to sing songs about it.
The
because
blues.
it's horrible. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
it's comedic blues. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's here's a darker question. You touched on it pretty well there. It seems like you I mean, I relate to it well. I was class bound, use comedy as like a survival mechanism. If I could make you laugh, you know, I could get away with murder type shit.
Right.
Which seems like a common thing for a lot of comics.
Yeah.
Does it frustrate you when you see a funny comic, not necessarily successful, but who doesn't have that like horrible background of life?
It doesn't,
like, you know?
because here's what I figure. I figure everybody has a shitty life, but it's shitty in a different way than mine is.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and I don't know what you've gone through. I don't know what your life is. I can't look at you on stage and be like, oh, look, your life is great. Look at you with your great life, you know, because I don't know what the road you took to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I am more critical of a comic who doesn't like, and it's every comic who starts out. Every comic who starts out just starts out telling jokes, either jokes they wrote and they thought they would be funny, has nothing to do with them, or jokes they've heard and they've tweaked a little bit, or just here's a thing that I thought was funny and I put it on stage. But I love, if you're telling the truth about yourself and your life is great, okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to bleed on stage for me. That's not what I mean. I think sometimes there are
room for
comics,
that. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
we gravitate to the comedy that we like,
right?
that we have a connection to. It's same for music, same for any art form. You know, you have to be able to you respond to it. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I've seen so many comics where it's like a therapy session. I'm going, is there funny in here? Anyway?
yeah.
Yeah.
did you want to talk to somebody about this?
Mm-hmm.
I saw a guy, and he's young, and he'll figure it out. A guy who is just at least gay, maybe other letters in the alphabet, I don't know. And he has a puppet act. He's a ventriloquist, and he actually had the puppet come up and sort of like gay bash him. Because like he would be on stage, it's like, oh, look at that lady, she's giving me the eye, and the puppet's like, you're gay. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're just gay. Why are you even doing that? You big gay. And I was like, this is therapy for you. This,
Yeah.
you're not. This is therapeutic. And I've seen that a lot with ventriloquists. I don't think every ventriloquist does it, but I've seen that a lot. I just saw a ventriloquist, like the whole shtick was, you're so ugly, you'll never get a man. And that was the puppet saying that to the woman. And I'm like, this should be on a couch,
Yeah.
not on a
Yeah.
stage. You know,
I
I mean, and
appreciate
it's
that
fine.
darkness
But
a
Yeah,
little bit, though.
it's there's a line, I think. I mean, I
Yeah.
think you can tell
yeah,
really.
but where is it? Is the question. I mean,
Yeah, well, when it starts being funny, I think is where
Yeah.
it is.
I mean,
Like, because Richard Pryor, I set myself on fire because I was high on cocaine. Dark,
Mhm.
but he makes it funny.
And it's
Right.
the ultimate. It's all about the message
Right.
at the
And
end.
how you
can't-
deliver it.
Yeah, you can deliver it almost any way you want, and you can be offensive. You can be clean. It doesn't matter. But as long as you stay true to the message, then you deliver a piece that is worth listening to.
Was there a moment you
know?
realized like you had found your voice, like you felt comfortable? This feels like me and not just like a manufactured.
I would say, and it takes a while to do it, because if you find a joke that's funny, and even if it doesn't work for you, you don't want to let it go. So it's, unless I mean, there are comics, I know several comics who are like, write all the time, always writing. Like a guy from here, Ronan Hirschberg,
I know Renan. Yeah.
who lives in New York now, would write all the time. And I was like, man, that's a lot of, I mean, like, sit down in my room, write some jokes, put them on stage today, writing. And I'm not that guy who writes like that. It's like, oh, that's a funny idea. I'm gonna try that. Okay, it didn't work. Let me go back to the stuff that has worked for 5 years.
Right.
So it took me a while to be like, all right, now you need to start writing for real, for real. So I would start writing about being a fat kid, or I would start writing about being black in a town where I'm the only black guy. For a long time, I did jokes about being gay, but I only did them at gay shows or college shows or gay friendly shows. I didn't do them like in a mainstream club. Like, this is just comedy night. You know, we're expecting, my wife is so, and you know, my job was so, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm just going to do it because it was working. Like at the places I was doing it, it was working. I was like, okay, I really want to do this on the regular stage. And the reason I wanted to do it is because I found a really funny joke about gay marriage. And I thought it would be disingenuous to say, I have a friend who's gay and he.
Yep.
And so I said, I'm just gonna tell the joke. Because what it was run-on again. And gays we had just gotten the right to get married. And Ronan says, well, you get married. And he was cool about it. He's like, you and Jim been together forever. When you guys gonna get married? And I'm like, I don't know. We hadn't really thought about it. I mean, we got all the legal stuff together. It's just, I don't want to plan a party. I'm tired. And I said, and I thought in myself, I said, that's what people think, that now that we can get married, we're just going to run and get married. And I'm like, there are millions of straight guys who have had the right this entire time and have not gotten married. And then what I thought of was, there must be gay guys who are like, shit, now I don't have an excuse.
Right.
Now I got it. Oh, that was my ace in the hole. What did you do, Congress? You know? And so I thought, oh my God, that'd be so funny. But I thought, well, then it's got to be me. If I'm going to do it, it's got to be me.
Mhm.
I have to tell the joke, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And when I first did it, it was very, like, I was trying to figure out, how can I bring up gay and not have people's, you know, like, oh, what's he going to say? And so I stopped even trying to do it. And so I'll just be like, yeah, you know, and I'm 56 and this is what happens. And oh, by the way, I'm gay. Hello. Hey, what? You didn't see that coming? And I just literally lean into the fact that it comes out of nowhere,
Mhm.
you know, and
I
that
just
lets
catch
people go, no, I did not see it coming. Tell us more. And I really haven't had a show where people just went, well, don't talk about that. because the angle from which I approach it, it's not like I don't talk about sex at all per se in my show.
Right.
So I'm not going to throw in gay sex. That's what people are afraid of. You're going to start talking about, yeah, so this guy had his finger up my butt. What?
But I love the and fancy joke. That is,
Oh my gosh. That is one of
especially-
my
Yeah.
favorite new ones. That's a new one.
but because you sneak in there, you're just like, that guy is hot and fancy.
And fancy. And it's one of the way
I
I
love
know I enjoy a joke is I say it and I giggle to myself.
Mm-hmm.
I say, oh well, if I think it's funny, then it'll be funny. And that's been one of the newer jokes that's been doing really well. That whole deal, because then I started this whole thing, which is true. I mean, literally, COVID made me tech savvy because I didn't know how to use anything: Zoom, Instagram, Giphy, none of it. And I worked with this arts advocate group, Elevator Arts Resource, and they were like, all right, the Fund for the Arts wants to give us a lot of money to distribute. They want us to be the distribution point, which is great. It'll be great for publicity, but everybody but me still had real jobs. They had just moved home, but they were still working really hard all day, even harder because now you're super accessible. So I said, oh, I'll do it. What is it like? I send a Facebook post once a day. I can do that. It was so much more than that, I discovered. And so I had to learn, okay, how do you make a GIF? How do you transfer a GIF to Instagram? Okay, wait, I've got to buy this thing, this special thing, so that I can put a GIF on Instagram. Wait, I can't do it on the computer. I have to do it on the phone. Wait, and so I had to learn all of these things. And so I was like constantly Googling. It's like, how do you send a GIF?
That's funny. That's basically what we do once a week. It's, hey, we're trying to figure out how to edit something, or that's
Oh, yeah.
constantly what I'm doing.
Man, I will tell you though, Google and YouTube have taught me how to do so many those how-to videos.
Yeah.
I have cleaned my headlights. I have put in a faucet. I changed the fan blade on my central air conditioning system.
The garbage
Yeah, YouTube's
disposal.
the best father figure I've ever known, really.
Oh, it's great. What I love about
I can build a
YouTube, this
deck if I want
amazing-
to.
Do what?
I can build a deck if I want to.
You could do.
Yeah.
Here's what's funny. The people who show you how to do this stuff, two things. One, somebody thought, I feel like I should show somebody how to put an IKEA table together.
Succinctly.
I'm gonna put one together and tape it because they have like, 500,000 views because it's like, oh, thank God somebody's putting a table together.
Yeah.
The other thing is that the people who do it already know how to do it. So they just run through it. Right. Like my phone screen got cracked and I thought I can probably do this myself. And then it was like, you have to have this special tool and this tool, and don't lose this because then your phone is useless, and keep this. And it's like layer upon layer and then gently pry up that. I was like, I'm just going to get a new phone.
Disclaimer: you need tiny Asian hands to.
Yeah,
Right? It really did, because like it was tools
Drop the
that
fucking
okay, this
tool
can
on the
only
carpet.
be for this.
Right.
Who needs tweezers? Why do I need tweezers for my phone?
That's why I go to like the unproduced, the 9th, 10th video on the list of stuff I'm looking for that, guy in his garage just doing it with his phone, because that's the guy that's going to shoot you straight, and
Right.
you're going to hear him cuss because he knocked his knuckle on something, and you're like, all right, I'm going to do the same thing. Look out for that knuckle knock. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Every once in a while, you'll have a guy who like fast forwards through the hardest part of it because it takes forever.
Right.
It's like, yeah, first you do is you remove this and this and this. Then once you get to this part, like, wait, hey.
What did I
hey,
miss?
And then show you
You-
the hour of them.
This
getting pissed
exactly
off.
like he does a 6-minute video for something that'll take you an hour. Exactly.
Right. All
You know,
those
and he just
tiny
speeds it
little
up.
things you
Look at
can't
me.
get off.
Look at me turning screws. Like, no, I need a step-by-step, Tiger. That's what
Like,
I
I'll
need.
hang in there with you, man. Just show me every step. I'm there with you. You just got to show me. I'll
I
promise.
bought well, here's what happened. So my kitchen sink, I would turn the knob and there was less and less and less water. So I said, oh, I need a cartridge, right? Because they don't have washers anymore. So I buy a cartridge, and then the house we bought, the cartridge doesn't work anymore because the faucet no longer is in service. So you can't get a cartridge. So I had to get it, and so I had to get a whole new faucet.
Or
I'm
installation.
gonna take a wild guess and say it was fucking Delta.
No, actually, it was Moen.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I
If
just
anybody's
dealt with
listening
that.
out there, Moen is the easiest damn faucet I ever put together in my life. Like
Note to
literally took like 30 minutes.
Did you get the little plumbing tool to like help you get under the sink and get that stupid nut off?
I didn't need a special tool. You don't need any special tools. That was the other thing. Okay.
This
I'm
is
gonna-
like just to help you get a good angle tool. It's really not like you don't need it, but it helps you just get a good angle up under the sink so you don't.
Okay,
got
I
real
don't have
stupid
that.
fat
That's
hands.
fancy. What you got going.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Mine
And-
was like, I don't even remember the name. Mine is first of all 2 handles, money bags. Mine has 2 handles,
It is
and
fancy.
Okay.
Is that your cat?
that is my cat.
Oh
That's
man,
mine. Come here.
I'd love to
Come
see
here.
it.
I'm put you on the thing. Come here. Come
Is
here.
it a male?
Yeah, it's a loud male. And here's the deal: whenever I'm doing something on this computer, which is all the time, he just comes and goes, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are these doors closed? Somebody close the door. Why would you close it? What are you doing? I'm
Did you
hungry, I
lay
think.
on those keys.
I might be hungry. I might be Can you feed me? Because I'm hungry. What are you doing?
Fucking cats, dude.
You haven't looked
Um,
at me in 10 minutes.
What made you choose male cat over female cat? Because that's a big.
Because it's
Decision.
just the idea of a tomcat. I mean, it really doesn't make any difference, frankly, because if they're fixed, it doesn't matter. They have nothing, so they could be anything. But it's just when I met Jim, he had a cat, and that cat was a boy, and then we got 2 cats together, and they were boys, and we're just like, yeah, boy cat. That's what I'm talking about.
I feel you. I got a
That
female
literally
cat.
was it.
Yeah.
That was, you got a female
Happy?
cat, you said?
Yeah. I got like 4 kids, 3 girls. So that cat's it's here somewhere, but I never see it because they've always got it trapped somewhere, living on it. Not physically trapped, but insisting
have
on
it-
attention.
Have it in a box.
Right. I love cats though. They're I'm super allergic to them. When I pet them, I have to like make sure I wash my hands afterwards. But
Oh,
I
that's so
fucking love 'em.
funny.
Yeah,
Grew up
they're
in
No,
big
cats.
this cat's
Well,
great. All the cats we've had been great. We had one cat, and he died. But we had him for a long time, and he would be super lonely. Like he was so lonely because we were both working, and we'd come home. He'd be like, "You guys are home. You guys are home. I love you so much. You're home. Oh my god, I love you so much. You're home. You guys are home. I love you so much. Hi." Right. He was the only cat I ever had who would come when you call him.
That's
I'd
great.
never had a cat like that would come when you call him.
I've never had one.
And so we said, we're gonna get a cat friend for you.
Mm.
And so is that cat just too much for this? Because I
No, what's his
I
name?
I actually love the sound of it. Like I said, I grew up
his
with cats.
name is Marty.
Dig it.
I like it.
I'm gonna let him out. He's trying to get out. I don't want to miss the opportunity. Come on.
Surprised your dog Ryan isn't turning his ears.
Yeah.
It's not.
Say hello.
Too bad.
Oh,
Aw,
Look at that kid. Look at that kid.
beautiful.
good looking
Look at
kitty.
that kid.
That is a-
Go now. Yeah.
Man, he is talkative. That's what made me guess he was a male. It seems like male cats are very vocal.
Yeah, I mean, I had a big fat.
What was that?
I
What's
had a
that?
big fat 16-pound tabby growing up that lived to 16 years old,
This guy is
and
18.
he was 18. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty vocal. He was.
He looked super healthy for 18.
Yeah.
That's what the vet said. He's like, really 18? I mean, he still jumps up on shit. He still runs through the house and chases nothing.
So I've been around some older cats. My wife, her parents had a cat. I don't know how old it was, but it was up there, 17, 18 years old. But it was basically a crypt keeper. It would make you nervous when it climbed onto your lap because you didn't, it was losing fur and you're real skinny.
Well, you don't want to be the one.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Like,
I
please don't
loved
die
it.
on me. Please don't die in my lap.
It's like, oh my
like a
god,
What did you do? He was
Dog.
fine. No, he wasn't fine. He
what the
wasn't.
fuck? Just
I'm pretty sure he's
I-
dead when he climbed on me.
Yeah.
He was alive when he got here. That's all I can say.
That's awesome.
don't know
Do
what
you
I-
have a gold tier comedian that you like? That's your gold standard. You know what I mean? Like who you
Like a
You mentioned
like
like
a
Richard Pryor.
contemporary, or you mean like
you just like how they work. You know, as
I
far as
just here's the thing. There are so many comics I like for so many different reasons. I try to watch more comedy now, especially since I'm home and I I can watch this Netflix special or that one. Richard Pryor, again, his writing, George Carlin. I like comedians who are commenting on the time in which they are in such a smart, intelligent way that even if you don't agree with their philosophy, you have to agree with their view of their philosophy.
Or yeah,
I
for,
dig
for
that.
me, it's directly about humanism. I see a lot of humanism in Pryor and in George Carlin in particular. I grew up with George Carlin.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it's
Well, let me rephrase the question. Is
Please
there a
tell.
comic that you think deserves 1,000% more attention?
Stuart Huff. And I don't think
Stuart
he'd
Huff.
want it, actually.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he would love to, like, I make a living at this comedy and I'm saying these really important, smart things. Because Stewart is like super Southern and unapologetically Southern, but he's also very, very smart. And he's also very opinionated. It's like, this is the side I'm on. So if you come to this show, I'm going to be on this side the whole show. I'm not going to try to play the middle. I'm going to be super liberal. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with the other side. And if that's not something you want,
That's great.
then
I don't want to put up his
I don't know what to tell
Facebook page, but I guess it's probably
Stephen Huff, VEN.
no, Stewart.
no,
Oh,
no.
Stewart, shit.
I have it here. I can pull up his Facebook page, but I don't.
This is
Without
why I have
permission,
Ryan
it
pull
feels
this stuff
weird.
up because I'm terrible at remembering names.
Here she is, Sharon Hunt. No.
Here's your
no.
Facebook page for everyone. This is Stuart Huff, right?
Oh my God, look at all these pictures he has. So
I
many
just
pictures.
Happen to focus on the second one.
Well,
That's
I've
so
seen
funny.
this
Maybe
stuff.
I should never do that for my own self.
I-
Because that would be
No.
weird. Like, oh my God, did I look like that ever? What?
Does that make you uncomfortable to see your old set sometimes?
You know what? There's a guy who worked at, when I first started working at, I think I was there before he started working there, but his name is Brett Soul, and he found all the old tapes because we used to tape all this. He used to tape all the shows.
Mm.
And so he has put all the shows on YouTube. And so I think if you go to Comedy Caravan, old comedy or old comedians or something like that,
I
you can
think
see
I saw some
every
Jeff
show.
Davis stuff.
And so you look at it, and I look at myself and I go, I thought that was funny.
Right.
I thought I was really kicking ass right there.
Yeah.
And I just remember these moments where I go, oh, why did I tell that joke? That's so sad that I thought that was okay to do that.
How married are you to your material? Like, you know, you have the album out there. How obligated do you feel not to do it or to do it?
My thing right now is that, I mean, there are some jokes that I literally wrote when I started comedy that I still do. I just keep like updating them. So it's like, all right, I can't do this joke about being in college anymore, but I can do a joke about having been in college.
Because
Right.
I
change is
can
a
do a
part of
joke
life.
about driving a shitty car because I don't drive a shitty car, but I can do
Yeah.
a joke, you know.
But
So
you
some
understand what
things
it's
get
like to
flipped.
drive a shitty car. And-
Exactly.
and-
But the thing that bothers me is when you do something that can't possibly be true about you.
Yeah.
You know, when guys get up there and go, yes, I was having sex with these 4 chicks and this and that and the other
No.
thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you saying this? Oh, because you wrote a funny punchline and now you're basically reverse engineering into this
Right.
joke. So you can say, and then I didn't have any watermelon. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Is that easier for you to write backwards from a punchline or let it naturally?
My
Figure it out as it
jokes
comes.
come from moments.
Mm.
I'll have a moment and I go, how can I put this on stage? Because it's hilarious.
Mhm.
Like literally all the things, like, okay, so one of the things I talk about is being how old I am and
Mhm.
all the stuff that old people used to complain about. I was like, come on, It's like, oh, this is so true. Like I have to pee all the time, all the time.
I understand.
And I talk about that in my show. I talk about you have to pee
Yeah.
all the time. Like it's so funny. This happened. So I'm working in this building while all these kids are doing drama, right? And I had a group of, I don't know, 12-year-olds. Somebody had a group of like 5 or 6-year-olds. And I heard him say to the kids, like, look, we're going to go to the classroom. It's our break. And so even if you don't think you can pee, you should try to pee. And I went, oh my God, when I go on a road trip, I always have to try to pee.
Yep. It's the circle of life. Yeah. I'm with
So
you
that's
there.
me. That's me now.
Mhm. I
Looks
like
good,
the road signs, the rest areas now. As I
Yeah.
get older, I mean, I'm about to turn 42, so I'm getting up there. But at any rate, but still, like going on the road, man, those rest area signs, you really do have to stop at everyone.
Yeah, I stop at every one.
You know, because they're like 70 miles apart.
They really are. And it used to be you could do a 3 or 4 hour trip and you were fine.
Yeah.
And now it's like, a couple hours in, I'm like, all right, where is the Thorntons?
Yeah. I can't even sleep through the night. that would be great.
Oh, I know, man. I get the thing that pisses me off so much is that I'll wake up and I'll go, all right, I've got half an hour. I could risk it for half an hour before I have to actually get up. Like there's a certain time frame in which I'm not getting up. I'm sleeping through, until it gets so bad I have to get up. Like I wouldn't pee the bed because it's but
For me, it's the hours of 6 to 7.
I'm playing the odds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sometimes
If
it
I've
works
got
out.
2 more hours of sleep, I'll get up and I'll come back for 2 hours. So if I got 30 minutes or 20 minutes, or God forbid, 5,
Right. You want to tough that
that's
shit
the
out.
most annoying when it's like, well, I could have gotten up in 5 minutes. And
You
now
feel
I
like
know
it's the
just get up.
syndrome. You know how like you're pulling in a driveway, you got to piss real bad.
Yeah.
That extra speed up, like intensity as you're getting the door open, like
Yeah.
it just seems like it intensifies. Does it seem the same way, right? At the closer you are to like being forced to get up time, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. What's really interesting, and I've thought about that because that, like he's like, oh, I've really got to pee, I really got to pee, really got to pee. But you've been holding it and clenching and kegling all the way. And then
Right.
once you get to the door, your body says, we're here.
Yeah.
Right. And it kind of
Release
lets
the hounds.
go. And then all of a sudden it gets worse than it was the entire hour when you were
Yeah.
trying to get to a restroom.
That panic is real.
I've had a couple of times where it's just like, I just have to get out of the car right now and go over behind these trees.
Yeah.
Because I would be like driving on the roads, like there's no restrooms here. These are just farms. These are just
Makes
farms.
you appreciate the trucker piss jug a little more, I think.
No, it does not. I rode with a comic, and he did that in my car, and I thought I'd kill him.
You can't be doing that.
No, because he had a Snapple or a Gatorade bottle or something, and I didn't know anything about it. And we get out, and he has his bottle, and he's throwing away this yellow liquor. And I went, "Did you pee in a jug in my car?" Like, yeah, man. I said, "We can stop, because all I need is to hit a bump."
Yeah.
And then my whole car smells like urine.
If it's your car and you're trying to do a solo long trip, I get it. But
yeah, if you want to take the risk for yourself, sure. But don't. Yeah. This is the same guy who, I kid you not, we were we were comedy friends, but we weren't hangout friends. But then he was having a wedding, and one of the guys dropped out, like who was supposed to be a groomsman. And his wife to be was very like, you got to get somebody else because you are not making my wedding lopsided. So he just asked me, you want to do it? I said, sure, I'll do it. Tux, $250. Like they ordered the most expensive tux they could. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Fine. They get divorced. They're not even together a year.
Oh shit.
And I went, you owe me $125. You owe me half of this.
Hell yeah. That's what an obligation that is.
Oh, I know. And but she was
bad enough you got to go to a wedding. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But then you have to dress up and stand up. Like, I don't know you, but we evidently have to walk together.
Yep.
And that was really the weird part. It was just like, all right, hi, we walk, right? And then I stand there while you get married to this woman I don't really know in this group of people I don't really know. in a
That's
tux.
super
I
happy for
spent,
me.
you know, I made a car payment for. Okay, what am I thinking?
Right. By the way, can I get that $300 for the tux?
Can I get that money back, Mister Brief Marriage?
Yeah. What's your last name now?
Right, you don't even know. You don't even know.
Man, I'm the same. You mentioned earlier, but 20, almost 22 years now. I'm not married, same person. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
What are you waiting on? What's the story?
I'm waiting
on
for
it,
the
Justin.
law, man. The law's got to change.
You know, I've been ordained. Just bring her in here.
I've heard that. I
I
heard
have
that.
so many friends who are like, yeah, I just did a marriage. You're a preacher? Somebody lets you be a what?
Yeah.
It's
Printed
not that
certificate.
hard.
It's not. It's basically you just go, you go online and go, I would like to be a guy who does it.
Yeah.
I have a grandma who was a county clerk. So it was part of the clerk's job for, you go to the courthouse and get married. It was the clerk that did it. So it was like a side gig for her to do weddings.
Oh, how
So it was
funny.
just like a nonstop, I'm legally a clerk. I can do this. We
I
can
can
make this
marry you.
happen. Right.
Uh-huh.
Like, no.
Right now, listen, let's finish this apple pie.
Right. Can we just have Thanksgiving? Fuck.
And we'll just go in the living room and I'll marry you guys. How about it? And then we'll be done in time for the game. It's fine.
Right. The pot roast is almost done. We can knock it out.
Listen, I've got a roast in the crock pot. Let's say we get married, then have some roasting potatoes. Huh?
It is so true. So true. Other than, what's the state of comedy now? Because I've been in a bubble for a while.
So here's what's
It's
happening
hair.
with comedy. Comedy is virtual. It's like you take all of the worst elements of live comedy and make them virtual. Like you have everybody who thinks they can have, now everybody thinks they can have an open mic. Before it was like there was at least some work you had to do. You had to find a venue, you had to be the guy in charge of the show, you had to talk to somebody. Now you just put something in Facebook and say, I'm having an open mic, and you create a graphic and suddenly you have a show.
Have you done
And
any?
suddenly people come to the show.
Wow.
Do you see any like tendencies as to like what makes one more successful than the other?
The
fucking
comics
people.
on the comics on the show, most definitely. Because here's the deal. I mean, like open mic caliber is even less on Zoom because you can do what we're doing, sit in your living room or your kitchen table or whatever,
Yeah.
and have a show. You don't have to actually get up, get dressed, have a really good routine. You can just have your notes on a piece of paper. You're like, all right, so yeah. So this girl at the Arby's was like, I've seen people actually do that. I've seen people just read their notes. So
And
yeah.
at a club open mic, you can get, you at least, even the shitty ones can get a couple bringer family members or friends to.
They can bring people. They actually have to
chuckle.
perform. It's not just I would like to do some jokes. Come on in. It's you get a square. You get a square.
Have you done any, and how'd that go?
I haven't done any open mics. I've done virtual shows, and I started very early because I was like, this is not a brief stay. If you want to do comedy right now and keep your chops, you have to do it online. You just have to do it online. And for me, it was like, what can it hurt? It's not like anybody's going to be like, we wanted you for this $10,000 corporate gig, but we noticed that you did a show on Twitch and we can't possibly use you. Like nobody's going to hold this against you, this virtual world. But if you don't get in it early and see where the bugs are and work the bugs out and figure out how to navigate it.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Left behind.
Yeah. Well, you have to, number one, you have to be okay with people not having their cameras on. You have to be okay with people not necessarily laughing. You have to know how to just sustain yourself.
How does the laughter work? Does everybody have their mics on? And
everybody, the best case scenario, and I've had A to Z, the best case scenario is everybody's cameras on. Everybody's mic is on unless their kid's running through or their dog is barking or their cat comes into the kitchen. And they laugh, but there's a delay. So you can't, like in a comedy club, you can say something while the laughter is dying. You can't really do that on Zoom.
Right.
Yeah.
You almost have to
Not
say
unless
it
you're plugged in
when the laughter starts
Mm.
because they've already had that delay in timing.
Mhm.
So it's weird. So you have to get the timing. So the show is a little bit, it's not slower. It's just, it's not boom, 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 boom. It's like, here's a joke, here's a joke, here's a punch, here's a tag, here's another joke, here's a new premise. You know, so you have to kind of dole it out rather than just bam, 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 bam.
Makes sense.
Destroys the
What about
pace.
the heckling side?
You know, here's what's great about Zoom is that you can see people's houses. So you can just be like, I had a guy, I used to, not I used to do, it's not like I did it every year, but I have done a show for charity for Gilda's Club. And they said, we're not going to have the big charity show, but we have all these people who are shut in who can't get out because of COVID and it would be dangerous for their health. But we want to still reach out and we want to have a comedy night every month. Can you do our first one? And I went, okay. Now I had done a show for clients at Gilda's Club. I'd done a show like the big fundraiser, which was fun. It was at the theater. And then I've done one where it's like, just come over here and we'll have some clients come and you do a show. And that was okay. It was weird. It was like a 4:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday show. It was just weird.
Yeah.
And so when they asked me to do this other one, I said, I really like these people. I really want to help out. Okay, I'll do it, but it's going to be awful. It was great because they all knew each other. So they hung out. It wasn't like, I feel awkward. This is weird. It's like, oh, we're just going to sit around with Fran and Irvin. And they were all at home. So they were very relaxed. And so they would just, and a couple of people would just talk to you. So it became less of, here's me doing a show and you're listening and laughing, and more of a conversation with a lot of people. It's like doing crowd work, but in a conversational way.
Yeah.
So it'd just be like,
Interesting.
yeah, Dad, this and the other and blah. Oh my God, Gladys is awake. We've been waiting for you, Gladys, because their names are in the thing, which is the other
Right.
thing. Then you'd be like, you don't look like a Fern. Where's Fern? What did you do with Fern, sir? I mean, you'd have people like they just get up and leave. Like, don't go, Frank.
Right.
I didn't like the joke about being gay. I'm sorry, Frank. Did I hit a nerve? Come back, Frank. Who's got Frank's number? And you just riff. And people think
That's
you're a
good.
genius.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm just doing it. And because I teach all the time, I've gotten really good at not caring how big of a fool I look like.
Mm-hmm.
Because the bigger the fool you are, the less intimidated kids are by you, and the more they'll listen to you. It's like, oh, he's an idiot. What's he got
Right.
to say? You know, because I'm getting ready to do this big acting class or whatever, and I don't want to feel like an idiot. Oh, he's a bigger idiot than me. Okay then. So I like them now. Now that I figured out the rhythm of them, I really like them. I mean, I'll even call it. Like I did a show. A buddy of mine asked me to do a show. It was for a university, and they were like, every Friday night we're going to have, or I was Tuesday night. Every Tuesday night we're going to have comedy, and we're going to have da da da. And so I did it, and it was like students don't want to turn their cameras on. They just don't. They're like sitting there, and who knows what, smoking pot, shooting up, whatever kids do. I don't know what they do. And so I was just, and there were like 12 people there. Because it was also the night, because they had it like every week. And the night I did it was the night of the first presidential debate in 2020. So everybody just wanted to see that train wreck. So like there was nobody there. My show was supposed to start at 8:15 and end at 8:45 so we can see the debate at 9. Well, at 8:15, the guy who was running the Zoom room, his internet went out. So he couldn't run it. So by the time he got back, I had about 15 minutes and there were like 8 people. And so I just started basically just chatting. I did some stuff and it's like, I can't believe there's 8 of us in here. It's just like one of those clubs where they tell you, hey man, last week it was packed. I don't know what happened. It's great. It must be a game in town. And then suddenly it was just a big conversation because everybody knew that because there were so many comedians in the room. Like, yeah, man, I did a show, blah, 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 da, 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 and I still got paid.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was like, this is the easiest $500 I ever made in my life. And that's the thing too, is that I've done shows where it's like, you come in here and you do 30 minutes, you get $500. You come in here, you do 20 minutes, we'll pay you whatever, people donate, and we'll split it 5 ways. And I will say though, it can't be your bread and butter for sure. Virtual rooms can't be your bread and butter unless you're willing to really work hard and make them that way. You have to work even harder. And there are people who were hustlers before this happened, who have just figured out how to hustle online. I've never been a producer. I've never been a guy who put a show together. I might be like, oh, a charity show? You want me to put a charity show together? Let me ask a couple of my friends who I know won't be completely blue and will actually get it. And I put the show together, and then, you know, we come and do a show for you and you give us some money or whatever. But as far as every week, I'm going to put together an online show, and I'm going to get the comedians, and I'm going to get the patrons, and I'm going to follow up, and I'm going to send emails, and I'm going to get a Eventbrite.
Right.
It's like, no, I'm not that fella. See, again, another one of those things that I would not have known had it not been. I didn't know what Eventbrite was. No idea. And then people, you know, my friends have comedy shows and go to Eventbrite and they're, oh, what do you guys do? Or what is it? Red Pin Tickets?
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I didn't know any of this.
No idea.
What would you say the difference is there? Obviously, there's the same type of hustlers for the in-person brick and mortar comedy clubs. How would you say those two roles vary? The same people? They're trying to transition, or you see a completely new crowd of people doing it?
They're different types of shows, really. And it's not to say somebody who would watch a virtual show wouldn't come to a brick and mortar, but right now, if you're coming to a brick and mortar, you like live comedy.
Yeah.
You don't just
really
want something fun to watch. You like live comedy. You want to be out among people, having a drink, having a little fun, watching somebody do something live on stage. And what I have found, and I really haven't had any shows that were like, oh, why did I do this show? That if I'm doing a live show, it's fun every time because the people who are there just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
They're desperate for it now.
Yeah.
And these comedians who are like, there's only 12 people in the audience, go, where are the rest of the people? It's only 12 people. And you just want to go, number one, why are you mad at the people who showed up? Number two, it's COVID. Okay.
Right.
Dance with who brung you. And those are generally comedians who don't okay, if I don't have a big crowd, I'm not going to be funny.
You would think it'd be easy to remember they are still in their living room, or
Yeah.
you know, like you didn't put pants on, so
Right.
You know,
Right.
so you shouldn't
But
complain.
and with that, I'm certainly like, hey, you showed up. You made the effort to turn your computer on.
Right.
And some of these shows, a lot of the shows are free, but some it's like it's $10 a person.
Yeah.
You know, or and I know the ones where I'm going, like when I go out actually with live people, they paid something. There are some that are free, but you know, I still give them a pretty, you know, I give them a decent show. I'm not gonna be like, oh, y'all didn't pay nothing for this. What? Because they came all the way out. They still got babysitters. They still did all the things you do.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. And I always have. And I think that's the thing. I've always appreciated whoever showed up. And so I developed skills of being able to be like, there's only 7 of you. Let's not pretend there are 100 of you.
Right.
Let's just have a conversation.
Yeah.
I did a show, and this was early in my career when I just really started featuring and would go all the way to Wisconsin for a one night or all the way to Minnesota.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've spent so many nights being like, it is really cold here in Duluth. I don't know how people live here. And I did one show for a room that had like, it had 8 people in it. And one of them was a middle schooler doing her homework. And I thought, cutting your teeth, guy. So I was the feature, and the MC went up and did the show as though the room was full of people because this is how he rehearsed it, and he didn't know how to veer. So he was doing like, how many people? So and so and so. And it's
Show
like,
of hands.
dude, you're not looking at anybody. There's 4 people to your left, and there's like 2 tables of 2 in front of you. Just talk to them.
Yeah.
Just talk to those people, right? Even if it sucks, at least you just talk to those people. And I just talked to those people. I even talked to the girl doing her homework, like, what homework is that? What are you doing?
One
Oh
thing
my
I've always-
God, history. What are you studying? And it was just, it became a show about her, and it was great because it was like, yeah, we all know this shit's weird. Let's not pretend it isn't.
Right. always thought comedy shows are the perfect crowd place for the got a sitter, haven't had a night out in a long time. You know, that's the perfect recipe for just buffoonery. You know what I mean?
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know. It's just you recognize there's a group of like those people in every major big crowd. You can just spot them right away. These motherfuckers haven't been out in a while. They're a
right.
little
They're a little,
going a
they're a
little
little
extra
off the
hard in the paint.
chain.
Yeah,
Exactly, exactly. They're a little off the chain tonight.
yeah,
We have to rein them in.
yeah. But you know, it's you gotta. I respect the shit out of that. I love seeing that joy in people because they really need it. So you don't want to give them a hard time. You
And
want to make
that's
sure
the
they enjoy
thing.
themselves.
I think there's going to be a big explosion going forward.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's gonna be two things. It's gonna be like more people are gonna come to this
Mhm.
comedy, and more people are gonna go to clubs
Yep.
Which
because
brings up a lot of issues. But I mean, it's inevitably going to happen because people are dying to get out, and
yeah,
musicians
and
and
this is
comedians and the like are dying to get out too.
and it's one of the few places you can go.
Yeah.
Like comedy clubs are open, restaurants are open.
Mhm.
Maybe somebody's sitting in a place with a guitar,
Mhm.
but you can't go to really movie theaters. I mean, you can. You can't go to regular theaters. Like if you want to go see live stuff happen, you have to go to a comedy club because a comedy
Yeah.
club is one guy or one woman
Right.
standing on the stage talking to people kind of spread out. So it's a
Mhm.
safe thing to do. It's very easy.
That's a good point.
Like you can't have a theater troupe on stage.
Yeah.
But you can have one person on stage, you know.
I was really impressed with Dave Chappelle how he set up basically an entire outside venue.
Which is so smart.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's amazing.
in Cuyahoga, his
Yeah.
post
He was
George Floyd.
you know, super spaced out, open field.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I thought that was brilliant.
And then
The-
Kevin Hart did it in his living room and it lost something.
Dude, I tried to
Yeah.
watch that
Oof.
and I could not. I got about 20 minutes in, and
The
then
thing about it,
but I
and it
love
was-
Kevin Hart. I do. You know.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it was that his edge, he wasn't. I don't know if he didn't have all the writers or he didn't have enough time to work it up and then do the special,
Mm.
or if it just felt so narcissistic to be like, I'm Kevin Hart, you can come to my house. That's how big it is.
Yeah, that felt really weird.
Yeah,
Kevin
or
Hart
like,
needs
hey,
a
come sit
Patrice
on the
O'Neal in his life.
couch and we'll have, and then he just started doing jokes. Like he did 20 minutes on brick oven pizza. I'm like, why
Right.
is that a thing that
I've
you
always
think-
viewed Kevin
Is
Hart
it a
like
thing?
that.
I don't think it is a thing anymore.
evidently it was a thing for him. Like he was talking about, he went to Jerry Seinfeld's house and there was brick oven pizza and it was amazing. And he just, it was one of those things where he was like, you know how people tell jokes that aren't true about them anymore, that they shouldn't have their eyes, they shouldn't be, feeling this way. He shouldn't be that amazed by brick oven pizza. He's a millionaire.
Yeah.
So for
Right.
him to get up there and disingenuously go, man, he had a brick oven pizza. I'm like, what are you doing?
Come on, man.
Mhm.
Are you
Yeah.
trying to make us believe you're still Jenny from the block? You're not.
You got 15 employees, dude.
Exactly. You can make a brick oven in an hour.
And I think that's
He's
why
standing in
to
front of
me,
a brick oven.
there's somebody
Right.
busting his balls. Kevin Hart's early days, Patrice O'Neal would bust his ball. He's constantly
Mhm.
getting ragged on, and now everybody that he employs is afraid to rag on him, so he doesn't have that edge anymore. It seems. I may be
Right.
off there, but
Well, and I think the other part of it too is that I think he's afraid to be too edgy because
he went through that.
he
Yeah.
went through all of that stuff and he's like, and he did talk about it, which I thought was cool. That okay, so
I thought it was one of the most honest explanations.
Yes, and I agree with that. But I wish the rest of the show had been that honest.
Yeah.
The rest of it was like brick oven pizza. Kevin,
Mhm.
you should not be amazed. I'm not amazed by brick oven pizza,
Right.
and I live in a shotgun.
I
So-
used to be amazed when I was like 6 years old and my dad took me
Right.
there.
Or when I had never seen how pizza was made.
Yeah.
I'd never been to any Italian restaurant ever.
At that point
Right.
in my life, it was pretty amazing, but I've gotten over it.
Yeah, now I sort of get it. I sort
one
of get
episode
you
of
have a
Mr.
big
Rogers.
paddle and there's an oven and you put the pizza in and you
Mhm.
have pizza in 20 minutes. I
Yeah.
get it. It's
Yeah.
not
Right.
You know,
Now I want a fucking pizza.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about the whole cancel culture, woke nonsense affecting your writing?
this is the sitch with me and cancel culture. A lot of people use that phrase to just mean I should be able to do whatever I want to, and there should be no consequences. Like Senator Hawley,
Yeah.
when he was like, I think the election was a fraud, and then Simon and Schuster went, we don't want to sell your book. He was like, this is cancel culture. Like, no, that's business.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a difference, you know. I think some things were a little, the pendulum swung way too wide when Al Franken had to quit because he took a
I
picture of
agree.
somebody as a joke, and he just said, okay, I quit the next day.
Yeah.
And that was just like, it was too much. It
I
was
kind
too
of miss
much.
him. He was like a perfect.
No, he was good.
person. Yeah.
He was a bulldog.
Yeah.
I
He
still
was
see him
the
doing
bulldog.
interviews too. He's a pundit
Yeah, I
on
mean,
a
he's
couple shows.
recovered from it. He's just not senator anymore. We needed him to be
Yes, we
senator because
needed
now
him.
we got all of these people who are like, you're going to be dead any second. Why are you still coming to Congress? You can't even
Sure.
hear. You can't even
Uh,
hear the vote.
They're using those old school fucking horn things. To
It's like,
listen.
aye or nay. Oh, aye.
They're still looking for their powdered wigs and shit. That's fucking
Exactly.
terrible.
Beating gavel and taking snuff. Go home.
That's fucking rough. So it never like affects your ability, your writing technique,
No,
your thoughts.
no,
That's
because
great.
I used to think about that a lot, like especially with Facebook. Like, what if somebody sees me, you know, A, B, C, D, E, or if I do a gay joke and then somebody wants to hire me at a corporate event at a church and they don't hire me, it's like, then I'm not supposed to work at that church.
Yeah.
You know?
That's sort of it's a hard lesson to come to.
I mean, because when you
Yeah,
first start
in a
out,
way.
you don't want to eliminate any avenues
Yeah.
of work, but then you
Sometimes you have
pay
to.
a price. Because I have friends, you know, who are intimate friends who are like, okay, this is what my life really is, but I can't be on Facebook because if I say what my life really is on Facebook, then I won't get all these jobs.
Yeah.
And that's all I do. And I said, I get it. That's you
Or
put all your
lose the
eggs
one
in
you
the
have.
basket. Yeah. Yeah. Or I mean, not even like jobs, but like comedians mostly is what I'm talking about, or artists, you know. But I mean, even actors have to be, well, everybody has to be really careful. Here's the deal, cancel culture, I guess, to back it up. If you did something stupid, apologize immediately. Say, yeah, that was stupid. I'm sorry I did that. I mean, all you have to say is, yeah, that was 20 years ago and I was an idiot and you found that and I'm incredibly embarrassed about it. And I'm sorry I said that. I shouldn't have said that. I've learned a whole lot more now.
Or I thought that situation was resolved. It is apparent it is not resolved. I'm still
Let's
sorry.
resolve it. Let's
talk
have a
about it.
dialogue
Let's
about
have
it.
a
and let's talk.
dialogue and
Yeah. I see comedy as the safe space though. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
If in any form you can be just
Yeah. Don't tweet an apology.
Yeah.
No.
If you can be
Like, I'm really sorry, tweet.
Take all the risk possible. You should have the freedom to take all those risks. And it's not always going to fucking be funny. Sometimes it's going to fall short and sound fucking pretty horrible.
Yeah.
If somebody were to take it out of context. But
like,
there's not a whole lot of forgiveness for
it's not a reflection on your character.
No. There's not a lot of people that realize that it's hard to be funny. It's hard to create funny without fucking up a lot or hitting, some shitty ones.
Or in the moment, the culture as it was allowing it.
Yeah.
And then 20 years later, the culture doesn't allow it. So you're going to go back 20 years later and go, you said fag. And so you're a horrible person. It's like, I was 13.
Right.
We might want to let that go.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it doesn't I give everybody room to grow and change and go, that's not a thing. I used to do a joke as a Black person. And again, it was one of these jokes where I thought, this is funny, just on surface. It doesn't tell you anything about me. It doesn't bring the world closer. It's not a humanizing joke. I was in a Wendy's. It's based on a time I was in a Wendy's and this woman behind the counter overcharged them and didn't blink. Like she charged somebody $16.50 for a fish sandwich combo.
Mm-hmm.
and didn't blink. And I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And so I built it up to this woman, this black woman, was because she was a black woman. She was working behind the counter and all these things. And then at the end of the joke, it was like, oh, you want to know my name? She pointed me to the manager. Well, my name is Shanika Manika Rashawn Jackson. Huge laugh. So funny. And I did it for years. And then finally I just went, there are women who have these actual names that mean something to them, number one. Number two, they are already disenfranchised. I mean, because they did that thing about you put somebody, the same resume, and you put Shanika on the resume, and you put Janice on the resume, and more people pick Janice.
That was a few years ago for like higher education.
And I said, I can't be part of this anymore. Funny as it is, bigger laughs as it gets. I can't be part of this anymore. And so I stopped doing the joke. Now, if somebody dug that up and went, you did this joke. In fact, it's probably on the Caravan. You guys want to ruin my career, go find it. And I'll be like, I know that was a messed up joke. I'm sorry about that. Now what we're do?
Well, yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? And that's ultimately the question. Well, you grow naturally. We all grow. Like you said, we start at one place and we come to a new place, and then we go to a new place, like constantly. And you can't deny that process. We all make mistakes in our life.
And the other part of it is, it's like you say, it's the proximity to this idiocy. Like when was the idiocy? Like if the idiocy, you stood up in front of Congress and went, this election is a sham. And then the next day, Simon & Schuster says, he's going to lose us millions of dollars because it's not the, reactionary Republican printing house, right?
Yeah.
Because if people find out that Simon & Schuster is printing his book, they're going to be looking at every label going, oh, this was printed by Simon & Schuster. I'm not buying this book about the gayest gay man in the gay world of gayness either. And so they know, like, no, because we have a lot of imprints. So this man is going to screw this up because they know the cancel culture is not Simon & Schuster. The cancel culture is the people who won't buy that book, won't buy Simon & Schuster's books.
Yeah.
Like, Simon & Schuster, you're nothing to me. So Simon & Schuster's like, let's cut our losses real quick. Yeah. No, goodbye. And he's like, it's my Fifth Amendment, my Fifth. My First Amendment rights. He still has
the fucking balls to complain about it.
Well, he's already a rich white guy, and he's still I'm not richer though.
Yeah. And there's a clause in that contract.
Like, that particular joke, there was a reason when you compiled that joke, you chose that variation of name.
Right.
Now, whether or not you were thinking about, the cultural significance of it or not,
right.
To me, it's just because you knew that's what the audience, it's hard to, I don't know how to word that. I guess you chose it because you knew it would work. You knew it would work because of your understanding of society as a whole.
And because for me, and I look at it now, I grew up with girls named Shanika and Propecia. Like I did a joke about Propecia because I was going bald. So I did a joke about Propecia before everybody started doing it with every drug name.
Right. But how much of that onus is on you and not the crowd, though? I mean, I don't think
it's on me to put that to perpetuate the idea that that's okay to make fun of somebody's literal name. I mean, I'm not trying to like parse every joke I've ever written and go, who would be offended if I do a joke about being a gay person going to Chick-fil-A? I'm infringing on people's rights, and because I do that joke about that. It's like every once in a while I go to Chick-fil-A. I know. I can taste the guilt with every waffle fry, and I do a whole thing about how I'm not supposed to go. Because part of my shtick is I'm not the stereotypical gay that you think, right? I mean, I've been up here for 15, 20 minutes, and the first thing I say is, people don't realize I'm gay. They don't know I'm gay. People say, you don't look gay. Like, how am I supposed to look gay in a feather boa and a thong?
No.
It's not Thursday.
Right.
So it's like, you don't know where I'm going. So don't try to guess. Here we go.
There's something magical about being offended. I think that's good for you.
I enjoy being offended. Because then you can take a stand about something.
Yeah, it just forces you to think about where you stand on whatever you're offended by. You're like, wait a second, why do I feel?
Why does that bother me?
Yeah.
Well, like I was at an open mic, hanging out, maybe trying some new stuff, hanging with comedians, and there must have been 4 comedians in a row who did a WAP joke. right? 4. And I went, really? You're all going to talk about Wet SP? Really? Really gonna do that? Okay. And there were 4, and I was just like, typical open mic.
Yeah.
It's like, what is because for a lot of comedians, dirty equals funny.
Right.
And I've never been like, people's like, should you work clean or dirty? I say, you should work the way that makes you the most money.
Yeah.
Or makes you comfortable, because I was trying to be a black comedian for a really long time, because it was me and a buddy, Spike Davis, who were the
I've
2
met Spike
black
a couple
comedians.
times.
And so when we first started with the Caravan, there was somebody would call the club and say, hey, we're having a show at the fill in the black club name, and my fill in the black sister is having fill in the black person birthday party, and we want
Fill
some
in the
black
black.
comedians. And Spike didn't quite have, I don't think he had an hour, so I would do some, and then he would do the rest of it. And I was not good at being a black comedian. I'm a comedian who's black, but I wasn't a quote unquote black comedian, urban comedian, whatever. So it would just be, I would try to, and it would just be painful. Painful.
Really?
Just awful. Because you get 1 of 2 you get 1 of 3 reactions, really. You get boo, you ain't funny. You get,
He thinks it's
4.
funny.
I guess there's 4. You get boo, you ain't funny. You get complete silence.
Yeah. That's
You
the
get,
hard
That's
thing.
the fucking
okay,
worst.
I'm not even going to be quiet while you're up there. Let's have full-on conversations till you're
Yeah.
done. And you get, you doing all right, baby. You keep going, which is the
Oh.
worst one.
Woo!
That's the
Yeah.
worst.
That is the worst one, when some woman's like, you all right? Come on, baby.
Yeah, get a bunch of aunties out there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And I was just
Trying
like,
to do
okay.
this myself. Thank you very
So,
much.
and then Spike would get up there and he would kill, because he could naturally fall into that. That's not always the comedian he is, but he could naturally fall into that. I just couldn't fall into that. And then finally I thought, why you keep trying to do this? Why you keep trying to be something that you aren't? Just go up there and be funny. Funny transcends all of that.
Right.
And that's what I did. And now I don't have a fear of black shows as such. It's like, oh my God, it's a black show. It's a show that's mostly black people.
Which
And I'm
holds
done
more
the show.
value to you, making yourself laugh or making somebody else laugh?
Making somebody else laugh, no question. No question. That ability to take a room full of people, most of whom don't know each other, unless it's like an Elks Lodge or
Mhm.
a big party or somebody's bought out the room, and getting them all to think the way that you're thinking and understand what you're saying and understand that it's not that serious. It's a serious subject that doesn't have to be told in a serious way.
But do you laugh at the jokes you write, though? I mean, you're.
Oh, I do. If I don't think a joke is funny, I don't do it. I don't do a
Yeah.
joke just because, oh, this will be a really good joke.
Do you measure that by how funny you think it is, or whether it's going to be effective on the audience? I know that's a weird.
I like I say, if it makes me laugh, then I'll try it on the audience, because I don't feel like I can tell when it's too inside baseball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if I get up there and do a joke about teaching kids Shakespeare. I mean, I even have a joke like that now, but I had to make it ecumenical, and there's a lot of more explaining to do it than if I was doing it for a group of people who knew it was like to teach kids Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how much do
But
you think your own standard of funny has impacted your ability to be funny? Like, because you watch a lot of other comics, you hear a lot of other material, so you're constantly, whether you like it or not, judging it on some shape. You know what I mean? Whether you laugh or not. But how hard is it to overcome that obstacle of like, I think I'm hilarious, but I can't get this idea to translate how I want it to, that frustration.
Yeah, well, I don't feel like there's like this standard I need to live up to vis-a-vis other comedians.
Right.
Like I'll watch Stuart Huff and I'll be like, how did he wrap that around and come back and go across the street and go get a cigarette and come back and boom. Right.
Yeah.
And that's how Stuart writes. And I always thought, well, if he's writing like that, I need to write like that. Or if she says it like that, he does it. And then I realized I'm not, like, there are comics who, all right, from 4:30 to 6:30, I'm going to sit in my room and just write jokes and write jokes. I am not. That is the most painful. I can't imagine doing that. I would just be like, I don't want to be a comic because it would take the fun out of it for me. For some people, that's what motivates them.
Right.
For me, what motivates me is, oh my God, that's so funny. I can't wait to get on stage and see if other people think this is as funny as I do.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really where I am with that. I guess to boil it down, it's like, oh my God, that's hilarious. I wonder if other people would think this is hilarious. I wonder if I could get the idea of how hilarious this is to another 50 people.
When's the decision made whether, like, if it falls short when you first come up with it, you're like, this is fucking hilarious, and it doesn't quite hit where you want it to, what
I have to
makes you throw it away? Versus
I look at jokes a couple, 3 times. I really do. If I really like a joke, I will make that joke work. If it was just something that came off the top of my head, let me try it. It just depends on the joke. If there's something that's like, I've got to make this work. I've got to make this work. Like the writing, all the stuff I put, because I always had the gay stuff about, being in a relationship forever and guys and ABC and my grandmother meeting Jim and all that stuff. I had all that stuff for a long time, but I didn't have, here's something you're not expecting, but hang with me. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's when I first used to do it, and this is what I realized I needed to change it. When I first used to talk about being gay, I would try to segue it into something. And then so I'm going to stop trying to make it okay for you to hear me tell you I'm gay. That's just weird. Why am I doing that? Because then it makes me almost self-homophobic.
Pandering.
Yeah. It's like, is it okay if I talk to you about being gay? If it's not, let me know and I won't do it. It's like, no, it doesn't matter if it's okay with them. You're going to talk about being gay.
Yeah.
Now, if it was a thing where I kept doing it, it never got a laugh, I'd be like, it's just, I haven't figured out how to do it yet, or it's just not working.
Yeah.
But
Creatively,
I don't
I
think
there's
there's ever
something really exciting about, like, that feeling where I know there's something fucking in here. If I just keep
when it
this and
hit me,
playing with
when
it.
Ronan said that to me, I thought, because it was right after it happened. It was probably a week after it happened. He said, and he was super genuine about it. It wasn't ironic at all. It was like, that's so cool. So now you and Jim can get married, man. I think that's really cool. I was like, I don't know, we might. It's like, well, you should guys go ahead and get married. And I'm like, what's the big rush all of a sudden to get married just because we can? And then I thought, there have to be gay guys. And that was the parallel for me. Like, there have to be gay guys who feel the same way straight guys do. It's like, but now you're screwed because that was your ace in the hole.
Right.
And I thought, that's the way in. Is that being gay is only different from being straight by genitalia.
It gets you pretty excited when you have those moments. You're like, I got it. There's something, I got something here. Let's just flesh this shit out. Do you flesh it out like just by doing it live over and over? Or?
Yeah. I mean, literally that's it. I'll like get my little notebook and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to talk about, and if it's a new joke, I'll write it out as much as possible. Like my set list is like this word, this word, this word, paragraph, this word, this word, this word, because the paragraph is like, I got to get the words right. I got to figure out what the words are. And eventually it comes down to one word once I get it down to where I want it to be. But it's like, oh, I'm going to add this on there. That'll be funny. Let me try this. Oh, I'm going to take that out of there. I'm trying to do that. It's not working. So I just keep messing with it and messing with it and messing with it until it's like, it's honed down into this really cool thing.
Yeah, that's
and
the
I know
magic
where
I
it's
love
going.
right there, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure, Ryan, you can probably say the same thing about music. If you're trying to go through something, if it, that moment where it's like, there it fucking is, it fucking worked well. And it may happen on, like you said, on stage where you're just,
it happens for me.
Say it.
It happens for me at different times. Sometimes it happens within the compositional process itself. Other times it happens when I'm performing on stage. And I realize that, wait, that actually my own music. And I'm like, oh, wait, that actually did work.
Yeah. Do you record your sets?
Let me ask you, because I didn't know you're a musician. Let me ask you something, because I find something similar in comedy, since we're talking about those similarities. Is there a moment when something just pops in your head and you go, I've got to write that down? That's a song.
Oh, yeah. I have notebooks full of them. And I don't want to interrupt. I don't want to anticipate your next question. But I would say I utilize those notebooks not too often because I have a lot of like little tiny ideas
Right.
that have not been expanded into big ideas.
Yeah.
You know,
Does it ever a whole song or like, because I always hear these stories. I don't, and I hear it more with music than anything. It's like one night I just sat down and wrote this song in an hour.
Mhm.
Like, how often does that happen?
it it can happen often, but I think the key is that you just keep at it no matter what. And I think it can happen more often the better you get at your process.
Hmm.
For me,
So,
anyway.
well,
So I'll sit at the piano and I say, okay, so literally to answer your question, I'd say once every 6 weeks, I have a moment where I'm like, okay, that took an hour. That's really, really cool.
right.
You know,
I have those moments where well, that flash will happen and like boom, there's a joke. Um, and then I'll have moments like, oh, this is going to take a little bit of work. I'm gonna have to do something with this. I'm going to figure this out.
and that's part of the fun too. You know,
Yeah.
I that's why I enjoy the compositional process.
What's your notebook look like though? Like I assume your comedy,
It's
like this famous Seinfeld episode, wake up in the middle of the night, write something down on the nightstand on a napkin, wake up the next day and not have any idea what it is.
Yeah. Oh, that
What is
happens
it?
so often. I have the funniest dreams that
Mhm.
don't turn into anything.
Yeah, but what's the music version of that? Do you get just like 3 or 4 notes or something? You know what I mean? How does that look? You're like,
Is
what
that
is
I don't know what I was going to say. For me, sometimes I know whether or not something's going to work on stage before. Like it used to take a lot of tweaking and pushing and working and pushing. And now I can get a joke from funny idea to joke a lot faster. And when you said process, I thought, I wonder if it's the same with music. Because like I'll see somebody
Yeah.
sit down at the piano and just kind of, hit the keys or whatever. And I'll go, where did that come from? How do you do that without you're not even looking at the keys? You're looking at me and hitting the keys. But then I realized I have the same muscles, I have the same type of
Mm-hmm.
connections in my brain, but it's with words and
Yeah.
comedy rather than notes. Like somebody will sing a song and I'll go,
Still the
that's fine.
manipulation of sound.
Yeah.
You
And I'm
know?
like, that's a great song. And you go, no, I was flat on when I came out for that third right there. And I was like, okay, now you're just saying words. I don't know what you're saying.
So
Yeah, I get
lot of my
lost a lot
notes
with
are
that.
like they're just on manuscript paper.
Okay.
You
So
know?
those are your notebooks. You actually have I gotcha.
And these are like 4 different piece ideas, and that's all it is. You know.
What's funny is like I say, I hang out with my friends a lot. And if I really know you and we're really friends, I'll be like, hey, that piece you did about so-and-so, what if you tried this? Or I love that piece about blah, 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 but I don't know about that one piece, but what if you said this? I do that a lot. And um, because I do that so often, I can hear somebody's joke and go, I know what's wrong with this joke. And I can sort of break it down like this is only a premise, or you gave away the end of the joke and so they don't have anything to laugh at the end, or you didn't give them enough information, or why don't you, instead of saying duck, why don't you say swan, because it's a different kind of bird and it'll make this joke work a whole lot better. And it's very intuitive with me now. Like I don't have to like, well, let's have coffee and talk about this one joke. I can just, when you come off stage, I can go say dog instead of bird. And now you have
That's a really excellent point. I love that because I often rely on my intuition. Not that I'm always just an improvisational player. I'm more of a sit down with a, write it out, and then practice the piano, practice pieces that I like to play.
right.
Stuff like that. But often when I'm writing or crafting, I will rely on intuition, even though I might not think it's the best idea. I'll go with it, see where it leads.
I do my best writing on the stage.
Yeah.
I really do. Like I'll have, and it might not even necessarily be.
You're a true performer in the sense
that
of
joke.
Oscar Peterson,
Yeah.
you're a true performer. Yeah. I'm
I
sorry.
just be like, I'm going to try this piece. The thing is and this is my downfall. I tell all comedians to do this all the time, and I almost never do it. It's like I never record myself. So what I do though is like as soon as I get off stage, it's like I can't talk to you right now. I said something really funny. I have to write it down. Don't talk to me.
Right.
But I never record myself, and I think that again seems like a lot more work than I wanted to.
I had enough
but-
recordings of myself to understand what was going on. and what I
Exactly.
needed to
Like
change.
I say, when I was looking at those tapes of me, and it's so funny because you go through the evolution of my hair loss and the fashion choices I thought would be the best for a comedian, and standing. You go through me holding the microphone with a death grip to I don't need this mic stand. I don't need no stinking mic stand. You can see me forget what I was gonna say. Like I know it's like, yeah, I had no idea what I was gonna say right there.
Those little things, though, it's not like you can watch a tutorial video and learn. Just here's how you should just move the mic stand out of your way. You can actually do that. You don't have to stand behind it like a buffoon. You can.
Oh yeah, no, I would, because I wanted something to hold on to.
Yeah.
And I wanted, like, it was just easier. And so I would take the mic stand all the way over and lean all the way over and talk to people and lean over and talk. And it's like, and one night the MC slammed the mic into the mic stand and broke it. And so he just said, Keith McGill, and he handed me the mic. So, oh, here we go. And I went, this is wonderful. Oh my God.
Liberating moment.
This is like seeing the Chocolate Factory. I'm Charlie Bucket, And it's like, it was a whole new show. I could walk over to somebody and just get really close to them and bend over. I could just like somebody up front and go, hey, what is that? What are you drinking? This looks awful.
Mhm.
What is it?
Mhm.
What's this umbrella guy? What are you doing? And I can step way back and lean on the wall if I want to.
The tool is the
Right.
mic in your hand and the brain in your head.
Oh yeah. Oh, and that's all you need. That's the thing that really attracted me to comedy. When I couldn't give up acting because I just loved doing that. But the thing about comedy was you can do it at a moment's notice. You don't need a whole bunch of people. You don't need a production team, and they pay you right after.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like, all right, so we're gonna get a budget. You're gonna do this thing for 6 weeks and we're gonna give you $50. Or you're gonna do this thing for 20 minutes and we're gonna give you $50. Like, wait, what?
You're right. And some chicken tenders. You know what
And some chicken, dude.
I mean? Sign me
Dude,
up.
will work for food. Not even kidding.
Now I want chicken tenders.
Hey, something about those bartenders that just hit the spot. What? Oh shit! I lost my train of thought there. I
I catch
apologize.
back. No, there's not.
Silence is always a good thing. I
Yeah,
incorporate
I
silence
completely
in my
lost it.
music as well.
That's the other thing while we're talking
I
about
hate
that.
that.
No lie, Margot, is that I learned that it's okay if nothing is happening,
yeah.
because that's part of the show. Because audiences need breaks.
Part of the
Like, you
beauty.
can't possibly boom, 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 boom,
Mhm.
boom, boom. They need a moment
Right.
where it's like, woo, and then you can just slow it down, and you don't have to be making funny the whole time.
Or you can pick it
Yeah.
right back up again, but just give them a break.
Oh yeah, they need a moment. They need a moment to digest what they've done, take a drink of their drink, feed their noisy cat, all that stuff.
It's the classic Western tonal harmony thing of tension and release.
Exactly.
I remember.
That's
when I was
why
talking about
if
train
you
of thought.
notice and you watch like a Western on television, quietest moment is right before the gunshot. Right before the big showdown. There's music all the way up to that. And then right before the shot, there's no sound.
Yeah, it's something about the tumbleweed just
Yeah.
moving in
Because
silence.
they want you to be surprised with the sound. The gunshot sound is the most important sound that you'll hear.
Yeah.
So you don't have to put music behind it. And then once the guy goes down, then there's all kinds of music. You won, Tex. You saved our town.
That's pretty accurate.
I've always loved you, Tex. I've always loved you, darling. Let's go to the saloon. The end.
Right. My train of thought a second ago. Here's what it was. My other half, we were, just looking you up, reading some stuff about you. You auditioned for America's Got Talent recently, right?
Yes, I did.
You wanted
That's
me to ask
hilarious.
you about that process, how what
That
that nightmare was like.
there were two different times I did that, and neither of them really came to anything. The first time was for a lark. They were going to be in And then they came to Louisville, which kind of pissed me off. But they first went to Cincinnati, and I said, I'm just going to drive up to Cincinnati, get in line, audition, see what happens. So I drove to Cincinnati, got there, I don't know, I think about 1:30. There was nobody in line. I'm like, this is great. I'm just going to walk in and do it, and I'll be a star. And I walked in the building, and they had this Disneyland snake of a thing. And I went, oh, okay. So that took a couple of hours. A friend of mine came, and I didn't know she was even coming because I said, I'm going to go up to Cincinnati. She went, oh, okay. And then she decided to come on a lark. And so like we saw each other 3 or 4 lines over. So we'd wave every once in a while. And it was the most surreal. Like everybody there believes they are the next American Idol, but or America's Got Talent or America's whatever. Everybody. There must have been 2 or 3 Adeles practicing, Rolling in the Deep. And there were a couple of guys who did dueling guitars. And there were a couple of people who broke out into these like fame dance circles, go Stacey, go Stacey, go Stacey, And I just went, okay, I'm saving this so I can have this experience, so I can talk about it on stage, write about it. So you get up, you finally zigzag all the way through. They give you a sticker, they give you a number. They're supposed to keep the number. And then they take you out of that room and they put you in like a big, I don't know, waiting pen, or I like to call it like
a waiting pen.
Yeah, it's just like a big room, a big hall in the bigger convention hall. What I was calling to my friend the Hall of Delusion.
Yeah.
Because everybody in there thought, yeah. And so when I get this $1 million, I'm going to do this and this and that. And so some people, you just saw them and you go, what?
Yeah. How many overbearing parents did you see?
How many parents? Oh, a bunch of parents with the most talented child ever.
Have you seen my baby?
A bunch of people who came in groups and like, I hope you get it. I hope you get it. And then it would be like, there were these people called producers, which were just really like, 20 something runners who were like, I'm just trying to get in the business. So they would just run around and grab up people and be like, okay, look, are you a dancer? Come with me. Are you a dancer? Come with me. And so they can have these little video moments where you see people in their fame circles. Go Sheila, go Sheila. So those were those people. And then finally they take you out of the, what's that?
I said these fame circles sound fantastic.
Oh my God. It was just like Fame. They like watched way too many episodes of Glee.
Right.
And they've seen they've seen Pitch Perfect too many times.
Yeah.
And
as an accompanist,
because there were singing circles as well, of course.
Right.
Everybody would do their a cappella version of the latest pop song.
Yeah, exactly. As a young pianist, that's what I used to play all the time, was that kind of stuff. I was director of musical theater for many years, at Seneca High School and some other local organizations there in Louisville. And like, it was always just waiting. Someone thought they had the next big thing. So but part of the fun for me as just the accompanist was just rehearsing with them and like seeing their passion and their glee,
Oh wow! So they would like come to you as in, my baby's special.
I'm talking about like high schoolers.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's an inside look. I like that. That's interesting.
Oh yeah.
I don't do any of that stuff anymore. I mean, I honestly wish I did, but I don't.
I see, and that's the thing I really love about teaching. Like people say, would you teach? Would you act? Would you? I was like, yeah, because they all give me something different. Like teaching is that moment where you go, you have something.
Yeah.
I really hope you keep doing it because you're amazing. Like I would never say that to a kid because then it either puts a lot of pressure on them or, if they don't make it, they're disappointed. It's like, but he said I had something. I thought I had something.
Yeah.
Give me the pipe. Okay. I don't know what happened.
Charlie's the cutest kid in the world, by the way.
Yeah, this is Charlie right here. He's actually named after Charlie Buckets.
You just made that up.
No, I did not. His name is Charlie.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
yeah. You know, I believe your child's name. is
No,
Charlie.
no. So his sister is Lyra, and she was based off the Golden Compass. You know, Lyra, the main character from that book.
You got to quit reading. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
This is my
A
son.
stack of
Henry.
9 books
Father.
next to my computer right now. I should probably like stop.
This is my child. Unfortunate events. You got to stop reading.
Yeah.
He's the coolest kid ever. Tied out with the cool hair. He's
I love the
basically a-
hair. I love
Yeah,
that hair. I hope he cherishes that hair forever.
Oh yeah.
Because it's so funny. Like hair like that comes in and out of vogue.
Mm-hmm.
Like first everybody wants straight hair, then everybody wants crazy hair, and now they make so many products for kids with hair like that. It's like, yeah, man, embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
We just keep it simple here. We don't do any of the fancy stuff. We just
As a dad, though, I try to
But-
point that out, like in other kids. Like when I see, I never compliment my own kids. Fuck that. But other kids that you see their uniqueness. You're like, dude, that shit's awesome. You got that fro you got rocking. You keep that going. You know what I mean?
Man,
I
that
try to-
lazy eye.
yeah.
Happening.
Just let it take a nap. It's working for you.
That's great, man. You don't need both your eyes at the same time. Everybody's doing that.
You got something. You got something going, man.
1.5 eyes is always better than 2.
mm-hmm.
But you're right. You can recognize that shit early on with a lot of kids. Sometimes
Yeah.
you just pay attention. You're like, geez, this kid.
And they just have, I mean, obviously everybody needs a little bit of training so you can, all right, you've got all this raw energy, now channel it. But you look at them and you just go, you just knew how to do that scene. And I was one of those kids. And I know I was one of those kids. It was just like, you just knew how to read that. Yeah, I don't know how I knew that. I don't know. How to,
Lyra is one of those, and she's really struggled through the pandemic more than anyone, more than myself, and it's hard to see her like energy being squashed because she wants to be outside every day, chasing the rabbits, taking the pictures, playing with the friends, doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What's up, Charlie?
I apologize, but now the kiddos are going to interfere.
It's all right.
we're
We're
probably- I
2
mean-
hours in. Yeah. We want
I was
to.
going to say, unless you guys have more pressing things, I think we've covered the whole waterfront.
Dude, it's been
Yeah.
a pleasure, to be honest.
It was
really has.
great. Thank you so
I
much
really
for asking me to do this.
Is there anybody you'd recommend?
Oh,
that
to
we-
do? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I can, I don't know. If you're on the Facebook.
Yep.
Why don't you shoot me a message, and then
Okay.
I'll just put you a bunch of names in there.
Awesome.
And this, so how does this air? What is the airing situation with this? I
Well,
don't even know.
I'll probably edit it tomorrow while I'm on the work clock.
I'll
then I'll
edit
just-
it at work.
Yeah. Then I'll upload it to YouTube, Spotify, whatnot, and
Cool.
share it that way. We also have a Facebook page. I'll share it through as well. So I'll shoot you a link through Facebook Messenger or something so you have it.
Cool.
But
I really appreciate you doing this. I enjoy your work. Everything that I read thus far, and I've only known you a day and a half or 2 days since I
Yeah, if
got
there's
the
anything we
info,
can do
it's
to like
so
share
good.
your
Yeah.
upcoming stuff.
anything, just let us know.
No, that's very good. I don't have anything upcoming, but
Yeah, I understand.
like literally, I just had like, hi. Your dad said you watched my comedy.
Do you like dancing? Because I do ballet.
That is so cool. I love ballet.
Do you have a joke?
Can you do? What are you gonna do for me? Can you show me a step or something?
Ooh.
What's a volcano's favorite food?
Wait. Lava cake.
That's exactly what Dad said. Magma, roni, and cheese.
That's so much better than lava cake.
Right,
I
that's
would have
also
went
what
lava
I
cake
said.
too. That's great. All right, guys. Seriously, been a pleasure.
Yeah.
I will be in touch. I'll shoot both of you messages once this gets edited and ready to roll.
Excellent, guys. Thank you so much. This was
Yeah,
great.
Good night. Good night, Lyra and Charlie.
Good night.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a good one,
Bye, guys.
guys. Where are you guys anyway? Where are you?
I live in Indiana.
Oh, okay.
I'm
in
in
Colorado.
Fort Collins, Colorado.
Fort Collins, Colorado. You know, the
Yeah.
first Kinko's is Fort Collins, Colorado.
The first what?
Kinko's.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think I made that up. I don't think
Copies.
it's true.
We're actually just getting our comedy
Making the
club
copies.
opened up here.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you want to see how flexible I am?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Wow. I cannot do that. I cannot do that.
Yeah, either.
And there will be an age soon where that will not be an appropriate question. It's okay now,
Yes.
but in a few years, you can't ever ask it.
Right.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You as
Bye.
well. See ya.
Thanks, man.
Good night.
Yeah.